All right, we should be live now on YouTube. YouTube, let me know if y'all can hear me, if the audio's going well. How about TikTok? Can y'all hear me? Can you see me? What am I making? Tonight, we're gonna crack open some new bottles. So in just a second, I have 8 or 9 new bottles here on the table that some of them I've never tried. Actually, most of them I've never tried. So we're gonna crack some of those open. I'm gonna let y'all pick. We'll probably pick 4 of them and just try some new whiskeys. Kentucky Vintage apple juice, nothing wrong with some apple juice. I like Jefferson's Ocean. It depends on which voyage it is. Basil Hayden is good stuff. I did not make the table, but I had a local woodworker do it for me. What's going on over there, YouTube? Smoky. Can y'all hear me fine? Is over on YouTube, you've got a little music in the background. Let me know if that's too loud or not loud enough. I don't really do tequila, Stank. Good Times Honey. How is that? Let me know how that one is. Well, there's good stuff. I'm not a huge fan of Yellowstone, but I'm not a Yellowstone hater. I just don't think I found the right one. I haven't had 24. 22, though, is really, really good. Yeah, Rusty, no problem. 10-1 is in here from Canada. It's been a while since I've had 10 Cup, but I remember it being pretty good. Chrissy Newberry in the chat. Kyle Jett is hanging out. Scott DeLock. Audio seems good. Nice. Have I ever considered becoming a school bus driver? I have not. I don't think I could deal with that many children at one time. Going to Nashville tomorrow for the start of hockey season. What needs to be the pre-game mixer? Hockey season, that's rough and tumble. They don't need to be a mixer. You just need to go straight for it, right? Nashville, there's a couple of good distilleries in Nashville, isn't there? Was it Juke Joint? In Juke Joint? What is it? Blue Note? Isn't that in Nashville? Actually doing a video on Jim Beam Red Stag here pretty soon. I like Larceny. We did a review on Larceny on a live stream on Monday. My favorite bottle is William LaRue Weller. Coming in clear on TikTok, nice. The quality is going to be a little better on YouTube if you're into that. It's a widescreen format as well. So that's just, they just let me, TikTok won't give me the access I need to do like I want to do. My favorite drink, if I'm just doing a mixed drink, is going to be an old fashioned. What's going on, Naptown? Thank you, Mim Jr. from Maryland. Responder? I don't know what that is. Good Times. I don't think I've had Good Times. Jason from Kansas in the house. Thank you, Beers and Gears. Yeah, that William LaRue's hiding behind me there. I had the Blue Run High Rye. I thought it was pretty good. Memphis. Okay, Blue Note is in Memphis. Sorry about that. Belle Meade is in Nashville. Really? I just got bought out by Nelson Greenbrier, right? Or they're getting rid of the Belle Meade stuff in favor of the Nelson Greenbrier. Enjoying some Clyde Mays. Hey, they didn't have to be fancy to be good, man. Favorite bottle under $40 that you could regularly get anywhere is probably going to be Wild Turkey 101. Quality is way better over on YouTube. Look at that, Seth Wilson with our first super chat on YouTube. We literally got approved for monetization on YouTube 8 minutes before we went live here today. 8 minutes. And Seth Wilson is the first super chat I've ever had. Like literally, I have another channel where we do work stuff. That one's been monetized for like 4 years, and I've never had a super chat on one of those work live streams. That's crazy. I've not tried Terry Bradshaw's, but it's on the list. Slow and Low, I've heard okay things about it. Blanton's is overrated, but still really, really good for sure. Signal Hill Whiskey in Newfoundland, haven't tried that. Responder is a bourbon for first responders. That sounds awesome. Is it by first responders as well? Like some first responders started one. Four Roses from Virginia. Nice. My recipe, look at the profile. We did a video on my recipe. It's a really sweet old fashioned. I prefer mine sweet. But you could kind of riff off of that as well. Yeah, Dance, JW Dance. There's a lot of good whiskey under 20 bucks. I've tried Gentleman's Jack. I used to drink a little bit of Gentleman's Jack, but I haven't Haven't done it in a while and haven't drank a lot of it. Yeah, I did fix the lawnmower that I dumped the Weller in. It took me 3 hours to get that lawnmower to run after we dumped Weller in it. It was kind of, that was a rough day because you had to like, it's one of those really smart like self-priming lawnmowers that, you know, outthinks people. And so there was no real way to disassemble the float bowl. Like it was a whole thing. So really to fix it, I just had to pour gas in it and pull the handle on it like 100 and something times to get it to work that Weller out after we had poured it out. Got to get that bag. That's right. That's right. Which is, you know, crazy to have, you know, almost, we're about to cross 60,000 subs and we just got monetized. Haven't tried bedtime. It's under 50. Ooh, TikTok's moving fast. Michter's and Redwood Empire, really good, for sure. I haven't tried Icelandic whiskey. Brothers Bond, don't have any of that. The Weller Mower Conundrum. What do I do for work? I'm in e-commerce, so we build websites that sell things. If anybody's an e-commerce director or owns a business that sells things, happy to help you out. Just let me know. The last 3 times Ole Miss beat Auburn in Oxford, Auburn fired their head coach all 3 times. Well, we're going to make it 4 for 4. So, 4 for 4. Bilbo Baggins thinks I'm a school. What's Alexa talking about? I need a drink. I need a drink. Let's pick a pour. We're gonna pick. I'm gonna pick a couple of bottles, maybe a few. I'm gonna pick 3, and y'all pick 1. Okay? What's going on, Hank Williams? Cheech in the house. Scott with the super chat. I appreciate it, Scott. I'm really enjoying the community. So if y'all are not in Discord, it should be in the profile. We're dropping it in the chat. On TikTok, it's in the profile. Elberty or Weller 12 are probably like. Those are probably my least favorite Buffalo Trace products, but if I had to pick one, Weller 12. Let me get a drink going and then I'll catch up on some of the chats here. What I've got is Blood Oath, packed number 8 right here. Then we've got a distillery only Evan Williams 12 year. I've got the Kentucky only cheap $12 Old Fitzgerald that I've never had. And then we are going to go, let me pick one more to throw in this. John J. Bowman, Pioneer Spirit, Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey, single barrel. Right there. Let me know in the chat. I could set up a poll, but I'm not going to. Y'all let me know which one of these do you want me to try and talk about right now. Favorite flavored whiskey bourbons? We're going to do more of those. I haven't had too many of them. Oh, everybody's saying that, well, Bowman was early. Bowman, Blood Oath, Blood, Bowman. Mike with the super chat, $20 super chat. Man, I appreciate that. What is the sweetest tasting whiskey you enjoy? You know, a lot of the Weller stuff is really sweet to me, which is why I enjoy it. Okay, so a lot of Evan 12. I tell you what, we'll get rid of the old Fitz, and over the course of this evening, we will open and try all 3 of these, and we'll just forget the other ones. Y'all don't want to see the other one. Y'all don't want to see what's behind door number 1. Honestly, I picked the best ones. These are the best ones. So we'll start with the Blood Oath, and we'll just kind of work our way through these other ones here. How about that? Got the target over on TikTok. I appreciate that. Thank you, Big Pun. Packed number 8. So this, I can zoom in on YouTube here and see if I can. TikTok, y'all just have to see it from way back there. But let's see if I can. Oh, I got to get over here on the thing. Let y'all zoom in and see. Blood Oath Packed 8 box. Right, if you've never seen these, they come in this, I don't know if this is, I don't think it's pine. It's kind of like I don't know, basswood or some sort of soft wood. It's got a little hardness to it, but not particularly heavy duty wood. It's got Blood Oath on the top, Blood Oath on one side of it, and it's got this nice top that just kind of slides in like that right there, right? And then the bottle is an interesting design. It's typically just kind of square, but it's got a lot of really fancy small writing that I can't read in the studio right here because it's too dark. So now I've got to do some video reviews of these, so I don't want to drink too much of it. If I drink half the bottle, then there's always that person in videos like, oh, you're doing a review of a bottle you've already drank half of. I love Michter's, absolutely love it there. It's one of my favorite distilleries. Kirkland in Wisconsin had a 1792 100 proof, 120, so they had a single barrel strength. That sounds like it would be exceptional. Didn't really like Sweet Wheat from 1792. I found it just a little plain. Like, it was good, it wasn't bad, but it was just really kind of just sweet and simple. Booker's Little Book. I like both of those. I prefer Booker's. Like, it's just, the flavors are so much more intense to me. Looks like everybody's okay with the Blood Oath pick to start here. Now, has anybody in the chat had this, and what is your thoughts on it? Do you like Blood Oath? Is this your jam? Have you had previous Blood Oaths and you want to try this one? Let me know. And I'm going to see if I can figure out at least enough to know what this is, because these are usually like finished whiskeys. But Lord have mercy, it's a cursive and it's really small. So it's 98.6 proof of God knows what, because I can't read that crap. Let me see if I can get a picture of it with my phone and zoom in on it. Like, hey, come on, Blood Oath. Give me something in the box that's like bigger. Okay, let's read this. A masterful union of three does that say bread? That's really hard to read. Well-bred, aged bourbons, all with exceptional pedigree. They're well-bred with exceptional pedigree. Not something I usually say about bourbons. Maybe some sort of show dog, but we open with a bold 14-year-old that evokes such butterscotch and hints of chocolate. Next, an 11-year-old excites the palate with a sweet and spicy nose of vanilla and cinnamon. And lastly, an 8-year-old finished in Calvados cask. Is that a Calvados cask? Delivering notes of juicy pears and ripe apples reminiscent of the oak barrel's previous life. That word, this aged trifecta is one for the ages. Okay, they do a good job of selling it, but Lord have mercy, give me a font that makes sense. Give me a font that makes sense. What is a Blood Oath? So this is a sourced whiskey, I'm pretty sure. There's some stuff on the side here that might give me a little more info. If y'all want to know more about that, I'll see if I can. That font looks like it might be the same font, so we'll see if I can freaking read this. But Blood Oath, the Blood Oath attests that every batch of Blood Oath is the undertaking of one man, a student of both bourbon and science, loyal to no one family, favoring no one distillery, and bound by no one philosophy. This bourbon connoisseur has one goal in mind: to seek out bourbons rare and wonderful, famous and forgotten, then bottle them in combinations previously unimagined for a lucky few. Not to cater to anyone's loyalties, he has sworn to never reveal where he finds his bourbon, but only to promise to choose and make the best he knows. Loose lips never tasted something so special. So, in other words, zero transparency, doesn't want you to know where he got this crap from. He can say it's some big secret and it makes it better. It does not. But then he blends them. So one guy buys some barrels, won't tell us where, and then he blends them up and he sells them to us. And then we gladly buy them because somebody said they were good or they're rare. It says on the box what it was finished in. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, yeah, Calvados cask. You're right there on the box. Who would have thunk it? Right there on the box. Calvados. I don't know what a Calvados is. Somebody want to tell me what a Calvados is? And then somebody in the chat just want to let me know that As somebody who reviews alcohol for a living, I should know what a Calvados is. Go ahead and let me know that in the chat too. I'll take it. It's okay. Never claimed to be a good, like, just look at the profile. I'm the least helpful whiskey reviewer on the planet. Found a McKenna 10-year bottle and bond. Nice. Yep, got the Blood Oath Pact 8 open right here. All right, so that smells pretty good, actually. Castle and Key, the only thing I've really tried is the rye, and it was fine. It was really rye forward. Okay, so that's oaky. I get bitter oak, almost like an aged Russell, so almost like a wild turkey product. I wouldn't be surprised if that 14-year-old they started with, I don't even know if you can buy a turkey barrel to source, but it has that kind of bitter oakiness to me, which I'm not a huge fan of. Not a huge fan. Like, bitter oak tends to kind of dominate the flavors, so I don't get all the subtlety and complexity. But what I can get outside of the bitter oak is actually pretty good. I'm gonna try that in a Glencairn. I think I might pick up some different notes in a Glen. Pump that like button for me if you would. Best Elijah Craig. Whew. I really like the Elijah Craig Toasted. Some folks love it, some folks hate it. That's probably mine. Elijah Craig 18-year. It's low proof, but it's pretty good. Liquor Barn in Lexington, Kentucky. I have a hard time with saying anything in Kentucky, apparently. This is a Blood Oath Pact 8, if you've just joined. Pact 7, I like that, and I think we may get the 6 and 7 down. I've got the 6 and 7. We may try them in a little bit, but okay, so that's a little different. I don't get quite the bitterness out of this glass that I got out of the last one. Could be too, that was just the first pour of the night. Like, that's the first thing I've drank since Monday when we were on a live stream. So, a little less oak. I'm still getting some bitter oak. A little bit of that sweetness they're talking about there. I think that's pretty good. And from memory, without blinding them, I would say I probably like this one better. I think the finish on it is milder. I think I like this better than the 6 or 7 because I don't like those really kind of overly finished whiskeys, but may have to break those out in a little bit and try them. Best cheaper bottle to buy, go get an Evan Williams bottle and bond, 17 bucks, or any of the Benchmark stuff except for Benchmark 8. So a Benchmark bonded, full proof, all of those are around $20 and actually really, really exceptional. The temp of blood. So everyone is 98.6 proof at the temperature of blood. That's clever. I'll give it, as far as marketing goes, it's clever, right? He has taken the thing that most whiskey reviewers are going to complain about, lack of transparency, and he's kind of made it his mantra. He's gone all in on it. No, 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 no. This is not me. This is not me not being transparent. This is me not caring where I get it, and you shouldn't either as long as it's good. That's just good marketing. I'll give him that. So whoever does the marketing on this, what is this guy's name? I don't know. He's got it on the, he's got his signature on here. John E. Oh, what is that? P-O-M-P-E? I can't even tell. Who knows? Who knows? What does changing glasses do? Well, I mean, so this glass is a little more open. And so sometimes with different glass shapes, it'll just hit your palate a little different, right? It just may hit a different part of your tongue when you're going to drink it. This has a really pronounced lip on it. This is an aged in ore neat glass, and I really like it. It's got a great weight to it. It's really heavy. If you don't like heavy glasses, you probably won't like this one, but it's got, you know, it's got a great heft to it. This one is probably my favorite. This is my favorite for tasting whiskey. It's light. I got the nice nub on the bottom. It's really small, so it concentrates all of the flavors and aromas. And this one will allow a little more to get past. Is it a huge difference in experience? No, not between these two. Honestly, I would say most of the time it's pretty much exactly the same. Now, a rocks glass that is just straight walled, I would say is a huge difference. I pick up a lot more flavors and nuance in a glass like this. The alcohol won't fill those holes. It literally will. Like, literally enough alcohol will fill any hole. Like, that's just science. Like, if I dig a hole in the ground and I pour enough alcohol in it, it'll fill it. Is that Blood Oath? Yes, this is Blood Oath Pact 8. Calvados Brandy is brandy from Normandy, France. Well, there you go. So it's a brandy finish. Bernheim. I haven't tried Bernheim. That's interesting. All right, let me try to catch up here on YouTube. And I apologize if I missed it. I don't usually smoke any of my drinks. A lot of folks will, and that can add some interesting dynamics to it, but not something I do. Seagram's VO 2002 was good. Haven't tried it. Ascot Fred Minnick. ACBP A922 today. AC, I'm assuming EC, Elijah Craig A922. Literally one of the things I had over here that I said nobody wanted to see is that's not A922 though. Is A922 the latest release? What is this? This is A122. Is that the one he posted? Elijah Craig 1922. I just got that one, but I haven't opened it yet. So we may try that one here in just a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of Midwinter Night's Dram, the one I have. I really want to try more. People love it, but it's too strong of a finish on them. My top 3 picks, like for whiskeys drinking regular, like give me a little more parameters. You're talking about cheap whiskeys, regularly available whiskeys, anything goes. Been a long time since I've had High West Campfire, but it was really good when I did. A good winter whiskey. We're going to open that Bowman's. Let's open the Bowman's, and then we're going to do the Evan Williams 12. I love Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare is good stuff. For a 10-year-old whiskey, a little low proof for me, but good stuff. Rest in peace, Green Label? What do you mean? I don't drink a lot of tequila. Oh, GU3 TV. I mean, I'm not an expert. I just happen to talk about it. Curious about that Evan Williams you got. We're gonna crack that one next. Let's pop this guy here, right here, open. This guy right here. C922. So, what is C? What is? Oh, okay. So this is A. You're right. This is A. This was the first release of the year, and C is the third release. Yeah, gotcha. You think High West has stopped using MGP entirely, so it's probably going to be a lot different. So that High West Campfire is probably going to be a lot different because I think they are putting their own distillate in there, right? That's why they dropped a lot of their labels and then they're bringing them back or whatever. Doing good, Smoking Cannon. Baker's Single Barrel. I haven't had the Single Barrel, but the previous Baker's 7 was actually really, really good. Unfortunately, Lebanon King, I am an Auburn fan, so college football, Auburn, basketball season's coming soon. Weller Antique 107 is one of my favorite whiskeys on the planet. The best moderately affordable whiskey, although it's kind of hard to find inexpensive still. But the George Remus I have, the 4, I thought was pretty good, but it's, you know, it's MGP, a lot of good MGP stuff out there. Oh, just introduced to the channel. Jay, well, thanks for joining and hanging out with me. That is awesome. We have got 89 concurrent folks on YouTube. I do look forward to the day when we can break 100. We're going to try to start taking this live stream up a few notches for sure. All right, so this smells very much like a Buffalo Trace, and there's a reason for that, obviously. I know. So for those that don't know, and anybody in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, because I tend to just say shit that's a little off. This is John J. Bowman, which is a Buffalo Trace distillate, but then they take it to Virginia and redistill it to call it a Virginia distillate. But it's going to be very Buffalo Trace-esque. Packers fan in the chat. Frank Ocean Trout. Yeah, Weller's Green Label's good stuff. What favorite bourbon to make an old fashioned? My wife prefers ancient age. I tend to like to make mine with a Michter's Rye. 67 VW Beetle. I literally just bought a 67 VW Beetle the other day. We're about to start restoring. That's what my daughter wanted for her first car. So I bought one, just brought it home a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a few now. Green Label Evan. I don't know. I don't have Green Label Evan, so I don't know. Why can't I do this on Friday? Well, first of all, you know, maybe I could. Maybe I could. Best beginner whiskey. I'm filming a video on that right now, and that will be out in the next week. But I think my beginner whiskeys, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, Old Forester 86, Benchmark, Buffalo Trace. Those are the 5, or let's see. And then there was a 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I seem to have lost one. I don't know what the other one is. I had 5 over there. I don't know where the 5th one went. Anyway, maybe an Elijah Craig small batch. That's what it was. Elijah Craig small batch in that as well. Buffalo Trace makes Burnham. That's right. Actually, I'm filming an Infinity Bottle video tomorrow. Well, Friday. Friday we're filming that one. So I'm gonna. Mine's empty. I'm gonna refill it. It's Blanton's at a higher proof. That's interesting. Let's look at this. Let's read about it before I taste it. This is 100 proof, so it's going to be higher proof than Blanton's. It smells like a Blanton's. I'm going to be honest. It smells like a Blanton's. Let's read this guy. Early pioneer Colonel John J. Bowman first explored Kentucky in 1775. 4 years later, he moved his family to Lincoln County, where they were among the earliest settlers of Kentucky. He later presided over Kentucky's first county court and was also appointed the first military commander and military governor of Kentucky County. He was the great uncle of Abram Smith Bowman, founder of the A. Smith Bowman Distillery. This single barrel bourbon whiskey commemorates the early pioneer John J. Bowman. So, named after some dude that's dead. That's all you really got to do is die to be named or have a whiskey named after you. The Reel says a Friday stream would be epic. See, if I would commit to 3 nights a week. Now the problem is I like watching ADHD Whiskey's stream, but he streams kind of late, so we might could sneak in an early stream on Friday. But I like watching his stream over on YouTube on Friday, so that would conflict a little bit there. But again, we could go live and in before his. If I would do 3 nights a week, I could commit to enough time to have TikTok give me a stream key so we can take the quality up. Carrie says garbage. What's garbage? That smells delicious. Thomas Handy's underrated? I would disagree. Now, it's a fine rye. It's a fine rye. But it's a $1,000 bottle of rye, so I don't think it's underrated. Just bought a 2004 Volkswagen. Nice. Yeah, Thomas, but I wouldn't say it's underrated. I don't think it's a $1,000 bottle. Where's the Weller? They're up there they're right here. Right here on the edge on TikTok. You can see some there. The William LaRue is right in here somewhere. Haven't had Tanner's Creek. Whistle Pig was good. It's a rye. I'm not a huge rye guy, though. War Damn Steve made it. Okay. So the only Bowman I'd ever had was the port finish. And we know my thoughts on port finish stuff, right? Hopefully we do. That has a little flavor that I don't get on a Blanton's, that I don't like. And I don't hate it, but a little water here. It doesn't add to it. It's just a little, it could be a little bitter oakiness. I'm not really reading it as oak though. So there's a little kind of oaky sharpness to it, and I'm sure somebody that was a better whiskey taster would call it some particular word, and we would be like, oh yeah, it tastes like that. But that's the only thing to knock this whiskey. It's not overwhelming or anything. If it didn't have whatever that sharpness was, I would say that's freaking crazy good. But it's still pretty dang good. I would have to blind it against Blanton's, but I do like the increased proof for sure. Haven't tried Hardin's Creek. I'm looking for an Angel's Envy rye. I'm going to end up getting one of those. Four Roses is a good cheap bourbon. The single barrel's great. The video I made last week, Four Brothers Bonded. I don't think it was For Brothers Bonded I did last week. Sometimes we film these weeks in advance, and I'm not real sure what came out last week, but I don't think it was Four Brothers Bonded. Never pay secondary? Sometimes you have to, right? Sometimes if you really want it, but never like some of these crazy not like Thomas Handy secondary. No, for sure. Four Roses single barrel is so good at 100 proof. Now, that didn't make my entry level. I didn't want to add a ton of 100 proof stuff in there, right? So I picked the Evan Williams just because it's kind of different than the other stuff. But like a Wild Turkey 101, a Four Roses single barrel, like all of those are exceptional whiskeys, really good drinkers and good for beginners. But I just, I'm trying to limit it to 5 for that video. And I went with the 5 I actually own instead of going to buy more because we've already bought too freaking many. No, Murray Hill Club is not worth the price for $120 to me. Don't even really care much for it. I mean, Seth, just you come over to the house, you drink some of mine. Right? Don't care much for it. I got it sitting right over there. It's not special to me. Now, the cigar blend, that's a good whiskey. Murray Hill Club, not to me, not for 120 bucks. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, everybody make sure you're subscribed to Cheech. Cheech helping me out with the moderation over there. And he has a really, really nice late night live stream. What's on my left? This bottle? Was this the bottle you were talking about I just pulled over? This is Evan Williams 12 year. I have not had the Widow Jane Decadence, but I expect it to be pretty good. Widow Jane 10 is good. From batch to batch, it varies. I don't really like George Dickel, and they use George Dickel in that blend. And so some of them are a little stronger on that George Dickel flavor than others. So if I find one that doesn't really taste like George Dickel, I really, really like it. The 13 year I thought was exceptional. The 15 year, I gave it away. I didn't like it. Eagle Rare is hard to get for a reason. Well, that's because people buy it. Hey, if you're not buying Belle Meade Reserve right now, you need to, because those are going to be gone. Like, they've quit making it. It's Nelson Greenbrier only now, so they've kind of de-emphasized the Nelson or the Belle Meade Reserve for that Nelson Greenbrier label. So I've been I bought a couple of those lately. Have not got any Sweetens Cove. War Dab Steve's watching both streams. Most I'd pay for an Eagle Rare. If I didn't have one and I needed it, I'd pay 40, 45 bucks for one. It would hurt to do it even at that price, but I'm not paying 50 bucks or more. Rumor has it, I don't think it's a rumor, MB. I think it comes from Buffalo Trace. I think they redistill it in Virginia. Which Bowman? This was the John J. Bowman Pioneer Spirit single barrel. And it's pretty good. I can't claim it's better than a Blanton's, but it would give it a run for its money, and it might beat it, for sure. I think, yeah, One Mo says come back to it after a week and let it mellow. I think you're right, honestly. Once the flavors kind of dilute just a little bit after this has been sitting open, it honestly may be just a hitter for sure. Garrison Brothers is that's a whiskey you got to kind of get accustomed to, right? Like Texas whiskey's intense. Garrison Brothers is extremely intense. So I like it, but it had to grow on me. It took a little while. Haven't had Amaranth, Grain of the Gods. That is, I'm not that lucky. What bottle would you bring to a groom at a bachelor party? If I had one, Weller Antique 107. That's kind of that's why I don't have any. I keep giving them away to people who haven't had them that I really like. Yeah, aged at Jefferson's Ocean. It just depends on the voyage. New distillery in Shelbyville, Kentucky. Okay. I have some Old Barton 100 proof, I think. I've got that Old Barton. Yeah, we found a 100 proof Old Barton as well. So, pretty good stuff. What makes a whiskey a beginner whiskey? Okay, so what we're trying to do when somebody says they're looking for beginner whiskeys, what I want to recommend is something that's like, don't buy an expensive whiskey. If you're just beginning, don't buy an expensive whiskey. What you want are whiskeys that are affordable, and you want to try a lot of different things to kind of figure out what your flavor profile is. You may like sweet whiskeys. You may like finished whiskeys. You may like low proof. You may like high proof. Typically, you're not going to like high proof. You're going to have to kind of ease into it. Like a Garrison Brothers, you're going to have to ease into those intense flavors. So what I'm trying to do is give something that most people would say they like, right? There's always that one guy that doesn't like anything. So what I'm trying to do is stuff that's middle of the road that very few people who are enthusiastic about bourbon would say is not a good bourbon. I'm trying to keep the proof at 100 proof or lower. Like, really, you need to try 80 proof bourbons, 90 proof bourbons. I want to mix 100 proof in there. And then I want to try some from several different distilleries. But I don't want to give you something like an old number 7 Jack Daniels or just a regular old Evan Williams that you're not going to enjoy. Like, that's not a great neat whiskey. That's a mixer. So stuff that can hold up neat in a Glencairn, but is in that $20 or $30 range, that you can just kind of explore and find out what you like without going broke. How am I able to afford all of these different bourbons? Did you not see the super chats we just got, Dan? Lord have no, we just literally, those are our first super chats ever. It started with work. We used to do a lot of content around, e-commerce, and we would just sit and drink bourbon and talk e-commerce. And so I had a decent collection from that, because every time we live stream, we would just buy another bottle so it wouldn't be the same bottle. Try to pair the bottle with the topic kind of thing. And that grew and was doing pretty well. We've dialed back on it since the pandemic, but and that gave me a good selection. And then we just started, going all in on whiskey. Right now, the whiskey content's not making any money, so we are, I'm losing my ass, but luckily I've got a lot of ass to lose. So it's, we're buying a little too much, but there are just some months I just don't buy, right? I have a little budget put together that I use to buy these whiskeys, and then, sometimes it just has to come out of savings. Don't tell my wife. Balcones single malt store pick is amazing. Nice. Low proof, not complex. Usually low proof is not complex, but that's not always the case. Jim all day. I haven't had I.W. Harper cask strength. What do I do for a living? I'm in e-commerce, so we build websites that sell things. The red label that I haven't tried yet is Evan Williams 12 years. So this is supposedly a distillery-only release of Evan Williams. Like, you got to drive up to the Evan Williams distillery to buy this guy right here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of just normal Evan Williams, but the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is really good at 100 proof. This being 12-year-old Evan Williams at 101 proof, I have really high expectations for it. It is, screw top, just unapologetically Evan Williams in its bottling. So that'll be kind of fun, but nothing wrong with that. I had somebody find this one for me and acquire it for me. So I haven't been to the Evan Williams distillery, but they got it. Why do I swirl the glass? First of all, just because it's fun. Realistically, I'm just trying to get a little oxygen on the bourbon to open it up a little bit. That's all. Cooper's Craft 100 is actually a really nice intro to high proof whiskey. Looks like we're getting a little, gotta do a little, gotta get rid of a spammer over there. All right. Costco small batch. I hear it's good. We don't have a Costco here, so it's like 45 minutes away. Haven't had Still Austin. Oh, you can definitely smell the oakiness on that. But there's a nice, interesting sweetness. I get a little bit of tobacco, just a hint of tobacco on it. Okay. That's pretty freaking good. Like, that is pretty good. 12 years is kind of my jam when it comes to bourbon. After that, it usually starts going downhill. Not always, but oftentimes. It's got kind of a sharpness to the flavor as well, on the mid palate. It leaves me with just a nice, soft, sweet finish. That's a pretty good whiskey. I don't think it's like head and shoulders above the Bottle and Bond as far as enjoyability goes, but it's obviously a much different flavor expression with kind of similar complexity. Like, it's got a really nice sweetness to it. The oakiness is about perfect on it. Like, that's a pretty good bottle. I don't know what these cost. I don't know what they cost if you go buy them at the distillery, but that's a pretty good whiskey there. All right, let me catch up. Chrissy, Evan Williams 12 and 23. 23 is probably going to be a little too old for me. But if you opened the 12, and what did you think about it? Rebecca, what's going on? How much that 12? Yeah, I don't know. A friend picked it up for me, and it was in a whole lot of bottles. They're like, hey, I've got all these bottles. You want them? Here's what it costs. And I was like, sure. So I'm not even sure. Hey, I've made it. If we've got monetization and a dating site, I am a professional streamer. Favorite sweet bourbon. Again, if you're gonna go sweet, I like a Weller product. Most hitters and it'll win. Yeah, that's a really good whiskey. I'm gonna give this a review, so we don't want to drink. Listen, when you see the video and this guy's like way down to here, when I do the review of this bottle, you're gonna know why, okay? And I'm gonna blame all of y'all. I'm gonna blame y'all in the chat when somebody says you're reviewing the bottles half empty. I'm gonna be like, hey, it's Topher's fault over here in the chat. It's Mr. Salty's fault. What's up, Mr. Salty? Channel member in the house. I will let Jill know. I will let Jill know you said hello. She's not going to join us for the stream, but she may be meandering around here in a little while. We're starting later than usual. You know, we're starting at 8. We used to start this Wednesday stream at 7. So she might be here and around in an hour or two. $149? This was $149? Well, that changes my perspective on it a little bit. Like, it's a screw top. I didn't expect it to be that much. Changes my perspective on it a little bit. It's still delicious, though. God, I didn't. Oof. That's the problem with somebody just saying, here's a bunch of bottles. You want it, here's the price. And I was like, yeah, I'll take them. Whew, I'm glad I didn't know that. It was listed $149 at the Evan Williams Experience. I'm just glad I didn't know. I might have said no just because it's a screw top and I just wasn't sure about it, but it's good stuff. Opinion on Elijah Craig barrel proofs. I like them, but I don't ever really love them. So I go back to them from time to time and hoping that they've opened up and I love them. And I'm like, tired of being tired. Just watched one of your videos and this live was under it. Nice. Well, thanks for joining. Appreciate you hanging out. We're just chilling out, talking about a little bourbon here. I'm in Opelika, Alabama. Hockey night. Uh-oh. I'm interrupting hockey night. Johnny Walker Blue worth the money? I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything about Johnny Walker Blue. I literally almost bought one the other day, and I messaged somebody and I was like, is this a good deal for Johnny Walker Blue? And they're like, no, definitely not. And so I didn't buy it. But I wanted to do, I want to do more like Scotch and Irish whiskey and things like that. And that was one I had in my hands, but it was overpriced. Do you have a whiskey or bourbon that legitimately left me speechless? I mean, you've heard me talk, man. I can ramble through anything. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that William LaRue that's top notch. Porter's Peach or Porter's Fire? I don't know. She did not cook steaks for dinner tonight. She was busy. We just had Guthrie, some chicken fingers. What am I drinking? This is Evan Williams' 12-year-old distillery-only release. Again, Miles, I'm not a Scotch guy. I'm a bourbon guy, so don't know a ton about it, man. I mean, happy to learn from you though. I just don't know. 95 on YouTube. I don't think we've ever hit. What's our max? Our max. Like it says 92 to me. I don't see our max. I don't know if it tells me that until we're done, like what the max viewership is over on YouTube. I do look forward to hitting 100 someday. That would be fun. Ryder normal bourbon? I don't understand the question. You get to try some William LaRue Weller? STO. That's gonna be awesome. You've never tried it? So this is the 12-year distillery only release there. It's been a long time since I've had Tin Cup. Not a big fan of Bird Dog, no. Thank you, Godfather, appreciate it. I'm gonna get up to Kentucky soon. I say soon. Next year, we're gonna do a lot of travel like that. I'm trying to book a lot of trips. Just scored a Weller 12. Nice. Crack it open. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think about it. Haven't had the Grizzly from Redwood, but Redwood. I haven't drank that much. Don't even think about it in the chat. I know what's coming. The TikTok trolls are gonna get me on that one. We are not there yet. We probably will get there at some point tonight. We're not there yet. Redwood makes good stuff. I'm not a Braves fan just because I don't care much for baseball. We just didn't even have a baseball team in my high school growing up. So, who we got over here? Jen Rocks in the chat. Nolan. What got me into drinking straight bourbon? Really just trying a bunch of different stuff, and that's what I liked. Like, I just found, when I find something I like, I try to know everything there is to know about it. And I'm not even close with bourbon to knowing everything there is to know. But we keep trying. We'll keep figuring it out. I mean, it's hard to hate on Buffalo Trace. I really like Buffalo Trace. Pretty much everything they put out, for the most part. I really like Michter's stuff. Their stuff is fantastic. Woodford Limited stuff is usually really good. I'm trying to just figure out, like, those are going to be the distilleries where I'm like, if it's got a Buffalo Trace label on it, and it's got, if it says it's made by Buffalo Trace, if it says it's made by Michter's, if it says it's made by Woodford, Old Forester, if it's made by Old Forester, I'll just take it. Like, just give me a bottle. I'm willing to pay whatever they're asking for it as long as it's MSRP, and I'll try it. Blue is not worth the price. Can I do a review if I get one? If I get one, I'll do a review for sure. $250. Lord have mercy. I think it was more. I don't even remember what they were asking for it. Kentucky is not the only state that's allowed to make bourbon. That is a myth. And I don't know, y'all on TikTok, if y'all are not following Basement Rick House, you're really missing out. Like, if you're watching my content and you're not watching Basement Rick House, you know, they're good stuff. A little more educational content. But they had an interesting story that I wasn't aware of, and I'll miss the specifics, but look at Basement Rick House on TikTok. And they kind of talked about why bourbon can only be made in the U.S. because bourbon used to have some general rules around it, but being made in the U.S. wasn't one of those rules. And then there was a woman that owned a distillery, and I forget the name of the distillery or the name of the woman. Forgive me, I just learned this on a freaking TikTok yesterday. She applied, like, all the distilleries applied for a medicinal license. And when Prohibition hit, and she was denied a medicinal license. So she was, you know, just bootlegging all of her whiskey out of her basement, and she got caught and got in trouble. So she ended up moving all of her stuff to Mexico, and she sold all of her stock to somebody that had a medicinal license, one of the big well-known distilleries. And she was making her whiskey in Mexico and shipping it across the line to bootleg it. And so when Prohibition ended, they were getting a little frustrated because the market was completely flooded with her Mexican bourbon. And so they changed the law to say that bourbon had to be made in the United States to keep her from having those advantages. And she basically had to shut down. I don't know what she did after that, but that's really the reason they limited it to the U.S. is to stop that particular distillery from putting out Mexican bourbon because they were making it cheap and they were slinging a whole bunch of it because they were making all throughout Prohibition, and most of these folks weren't making a whole lot because they were just medicinal license. And so when Prohibition was over, the market was just flooded with their bourbon because they had, you know, full inventory. And so that's really why it's limited to the U.S. It's not limited. It originated in Kentucky, sure. Is the best bourbon made in Kentucky? You could make that argument. I'm not sure you're successful with it, but you could make that argument. But it doesn't have to be. Just legally has to be made in the United States. Well, bourbon is, you know, bourbon has to be, bourbon has to be aged in, it has to be 51% corn. It has to be aged in charred new American oak barrels. Straight bourbon has to be 2 years old, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't want to be spreading misinformation, but that's going on memory. It has to be made in the U.S. Like that's bourbon. And it can't be finished. Like nothing can be done to it after it comes out of the barrel, or technically it's not bourbon. So if it's a finished whiskey, it was bourbon that was then finished in something. Bourbon at one point did have to be Kentucky spring water. I don't think that's the case anymore, but you could be right. Some of the Buffalo Trace bourbon cream is good stuff in coffee. Let me catch up on YouTube here. Yeah, appreciate it, Straight. Take it easy. Do we get to 99? I'm seeing 96, Smokey, but I'll take it. I'll take it. We're so close. Aged 4 years? It doesn't, no, bottle and bond has to be aged 4 years, DC. So for it to be called bottle and bond bourbon, it has to be 4 years. In a federally bonded warehouse, and all the grains have to be from one growing season. But just bourbon does not. Favorite spirit to drink straight and favorite to make a cocktail besides bourbon? I mean, if I'm not drinking bourbon, it's going to be a rye or a Tennessee whiskey. So that's really, it's bourbon. Just want a bottle of Blanton's Original Single Barrel. Good stuff. I mean, really, really hyped. Hard to find, but it's a really good bourbon. Eagle Rare, love Eagle Rare. I mean, it's a $30, $35 bottle of 10-year-old distillate from one of the best distillers in the country. Like that. Why is Buffalo Trace still impossible to find? It won't be for long. I've seen it, honestly, I've seen it a lot. We went bourbon hunting about a week or two ago, and I saw it at every store I went into. Like, they had the 1.75s, 1.75 liters of Buffalo Trace, and Buffalo Trace just committed like $1.2 billion to double their production capacity. That's going to take a couple of years, few years for that stuff to get out. However long, I don't even know how old Buffalo Trace, the brand Buffalo Trace is, but it's going to take years for that to, you know, to see the light of day. But I assure you, they've already been producing as much whiskey as they could possibly produce over the last few years. Like, they already have been, so that stuff's going to be out. I think the Benchmark Foolproof is really good. The Bonded is exceptional. Like, all of those are really solid. Yeah, we went down a little bit, Kyle. We didn't quite get to 100. It'll tell me, like, sometimes the numbers are a little off. Yeah, it says right now we have 91 concurrent users, but then it's telling me there's 92 down below, so I don't know. Straight is minimum 2 years. There you go. You're right. What am I drinking next? Some Fable and Volley actually sounds pretty good. 8-year Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Store Pick. Nice. That would probably be exceptional. Minimum 2 years if age stated. 4 years if straight, non-age stated. There you go, Rebecca. Thanks for keeping me straight on that. What's the next addition to the Bourbon Mobile? So for those that don't know, maybe those over on TikTok, first of all, join the Discord. The link is in my profile. We've got some really cool folks that are hanging out just talking about bourbon. If you're also a cool folk, like if you're an asshole, just stay out of there. Like, let's just be real. But you know, if you're pretty chill and laid back and you like to be a part of a bourbon community, and realistically, you want to be positive and upbeat about it. Like, we don't need any negative Nellies. I don't need anybody bringing me down. You know, making me not want to hang out in there. So as long as you're not one of those folks, we've been dropping the link here in YouTube. You should be able to scroll up and find it, and on TikTok it should be in my profile. So join that Discord, hang out with me. But over there, we've been talking about, there's a channel dedicated to me finding the ultimate bourbon road tripping machine, and we posted a video on YouTube, a long version. So I bought a 1972 Lincoln Continental, the least fuel efficient car maybe ever made, or at least road car ever made. Gets like 10 miles to the gallon on the highway, and I plan on road tripping it everywhere. And so I've been going through and getting it just ready to road trip. So we replaced the weather stripping in the front. I had to realign the doors and the windows and all that stuff just so it doesn't have a ton of road noise, because all those seals were dried out. Really been working on that. And then we've got all the door back together. I replaced the insulation in the door panel, and the moisture barriers, and all the like seals around the window scraper, so that it's all good and waterproof. I really just did the driver's side door. I mean, that took a whole freaking weekend and a half, because it's a lot of adjusting on that window. Got it together, and then the car wouldn't start. So this weekend we put a starter on it. So put a starter on her, and then we had a little problems with that. We got that fixed. So right now she's running great. But I've still got 3 more windows to go through to get exactly right. So we'll go through those windows after a while. I did get something to hold my phone, so I have GPS, and I'm trying to figure out the radio situation. It works, but it sounds like garbage. So the radio is probably the next thing I'm going to spend money on. Freezer door cocktails? I have not. Saw the YouTube video on the Lincoln. Nice. Her name's Maggie. Maggie is the Lincoln. Top 5 sweet, bourbons, like most bourbons sweet, realistically. If we're just talking realistically, most bourbons sweet. So Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, you know, all the Buffalo Trace products are going to be on the sweet side. Outside of that, of course, Ancient Age, that's a sweet one. What else here is really, really sweet? I would say a Maker's Mark's really sweet, but I'm not a huge fan of just normal Makers. Get a 101, maybe the 46 French Oak Stave, something like that, right? Four Roses. Four Roses is going to be a sweeter bourbon, so enjoy that one as well. There you go. Hopefully that answered your question. What's Maggie's next adventure? That's a good question. I'm trying to get some content together where we're going to go visit other content creators and do some content with them. So I've got to do some things first to get that content ready. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take a bottle of whiskey and I'm trying to improve it. So for instance, I want to take an Ancient Age, not Ancient Age. I want to take Ancient Age. I want to run experiments on it, do some custom blending with those experiments and see if I can get, you know, put it in a blind and see if I can get some other content creator to say that it's better than Blanton's in that blind. So we're going to take it and I'm going to distill it out. We're going to do some aging in a barrel of Ancient Age. Like we're going to do all these different things. Then we're going to blend some of those together and see if we can't make something that is better than Blanton's. Favorite bourbon under $30 is Wild Turkey 101. Russell's 13, it's good. It's not worth the price for me, but it's good stuff. Give me a bottle of Mad Dog, nothing wrong with that, man. What's the best platform to stream on? I haven't streamed on Twitch, so I can't really judge that. But YouTube gives me a stream key, and it's widescreen, so it just kind of fits the format of the cameras. So I have a lot more options on what we can do. Like, you know, if I wanted to show y'all this bottle, we can, you know, we could click a button here, and I can, of course, I've moved my mouse over there, but we can click a button, and I can zoom in on it. I could switch to my phone and actually show you around the studio if we want to. I mean, stuff like that is just crazy. I can't do any of that on TikTok. So if you want to see this, like if you want to see this insane stream setup here, let's make sure this thing is muted. I don't want it coming up in the audio feed, but let's see. It's not picking it up right now. We're going to try, oh, no, that's the music. Here it is. Am I on the Wi-Fi? Anyway, it's not picking it up. Normally it would pick this up, but I wasn't planning on using it, so I haven't set it up tonight. But I could normally show you all, like, there's just so much more we could do on YouTube. That's really what it boils down to. And the quality's a lot better. If TikTok would give me a stream key, it would be the same. So Bower Hill is better than Blanton's. I may have to try that. Stag Junior is fantastic if you get the right batch. Favorite is Eagle Rare. Nice. Hey, a good case of cold beer, man. I enjoy a Coors Banquet as much as the next guy. Redbreast, haven't had those. Best lighter smooth bourbon for women to try, and especially for one that has never had bourbon. Again, what we're looking for when you've never had bourbon and you just want to get into it, you want to try a bunch of different things and you want to try low proof stuff. So if you've just never really been into bourbon, that's different than I've never been into alcohol, high proof alcohol. So, you know, maybe if you've never had high proof alcohol, start with mixed drinks, right? Have an old fashioned or two, you know, do some things to water it down until you kind of get accustomed to that bourbon flavor. And then you really want to start looking at, you know, 80, 90 proof whiskeys, your Four Roses, you know, Elijah Craig small batch, stuff like that. Hello. Are y'all done? Awesome. Yeah, DC, the 79 Lincoln is very formal. Those, you know, mid to late 70s are very formal with that kind of Rolls Royce, you know, kind of radiator style grill. I like the wide grills a little better myself. Maggie should be getting right. Yeah, Kyle, she's running pretty good right now. I figured out a lot of her issues, but we still got a lot of work to do. I only have time on the weekends and usually not an entire weekend. I smoked an old fashioned. That's the only real one I did. Do I prefer driving manuals or automatics? It doesn't matter to me, either or. Right now I'm getting old, and so an automatic's kind of nice. If I'm gonna road trip it, I really prefer an automatic. So like the Lincoln's obviously an automatic. But I've got a couple of manuals. I've got a 63 Corrado, or 63. I got a 90 Corrado that is manual, and then I've got a 63 Impala that is manual as well. So don't mind those. They're just not great when you just want to chill out and zone out and ride, right? Swap a Tesla powertrain, that would go like 7 miles. Haven't tried Riger. Bottle and Bond. I mean, I love most Bottle and Bonds. I don't know if you're asking about a particular one. Is Four Roses similar to Maker's Mark? Not really. I mean, they're both kind of sweet. The Maker's Mark is going to be wheated, so it's going to be a little different. And then Four Roses can have different mash bills depending on, you know, which product you're doing there. So, love Pappy 23, but I'm not paying $3K. Me either. I mean, I've got Pappy's 15, but I didn't pay for what it goes for. Something I can drink to make my blood alcohol level 1.5. That is much more scientific information than I have. Haven't had the 115 proof Yellowstone. Yeah, Elijah Craig Small Batch is good. Yeah, we tried the John J. Bowman. I liked it. It was good stuff. That's a good whiskey. I think it's going to get better when it sits and opens up a little bit, though. So I'm looking forward to trying it in a week or so. Yeah, my Corrado's a G60, a little supercharged 4-cylinder. The interior is getting done on it right now, so we're going with a nice 2-tone interior. Yeah, Sirius XM radio on the Lincoln. Actually, I don't even think I want that. I think I'm just something Bluetooth, right? And I can do it from my phone. So if I really wanted satellite radio, because I don't want to mount an antenna or do anything like that other than what's there. I like the factory antenna, so I found a company that will take the factory radio. I found a company that will take the factory radio, keep it completely stock looking, right, with the push buttons, AM, FM switch, and the turn knobs, and they will add Bluetooth and a complete modern interior. So the problem is now is this is like a really old 4-ohm radio, I believe, and if we put modern speakers on it, it's going to blow the radio. Like, they just have a different resistance than the radio, so the radio will not survive putting modern speakers in, and the speakers we've got now just don't reproduce some frequencies. It works. You can hear music, but like some songs you can't really hear the person singing, you can only hear the music. Some of them you can't hear the music, you only hear the person, like it's just weird. Go-to happens to be Woodford. Nothing wrong with Woodford. I like normal old Woodford. Most of their limited releases though are exceptional. I've had some Yellowstone. We were doing a review of the 2020 limited release, but it's like their finished Yellowstone. I haven't reviewed Cooper's Craft, but I've had some. I have the 80 proof, didn't love that. The 100 proof is really good though. The Detling, I bought a cash strength Detling and I didn't like it at all. Like Detling, Alabama company, I want to support them. I'm trying to not talk shit about them, but that's 2 bottles I just didn't care anything for. Appreciate it, Salty. It's nice over here. I assure you, you know, YouTube just gives me a lot more capabilities. How often do I drink bourbon? Realistically, when I'm filming videos and when I'm live streaming with y'all. I've tried to kind of limit myself to that. Like, my goal is not to just drink all the bourbon in the world. And so when I wasn't doing content once a week, like really once or twice a week, I might have a few drinks. Now that we're doing content, we're streaming on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm gonna probably start filming regularly on Fridays. Hey, we may start streaming now on Fridays, so I don't know. We'll see. But my wife's looking at me funny. She's like, Fridays? No. What's up, Jill?
What's up?
Everybody say hello to Jill.
Hello, everybody. What's this Friday stuff?
They said we should stream on Friday.
Instead of Monday?
No. In addition to Monday.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can do Friday. Stingray from Cobra Kai. All right. Who's Stingray? You're Stingray from Cobra Kai? I watched most of the Cobra Kai. Oh, I mean, I don't think I've seen the last season or 2. Rob D, I am monetized. Look at there with the super chat. Thank you. STO Sirius says hello, Jill. Jill says hello back. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, everybody in YouTube. Smokey, Salty, Adam, Linda, Chris, Barbie, Seth, Jeff, Ken, Michael, and Kyle. I drink all day. I mean, you could keep thinking that if you want to. I'll take it. It's fine. It's not a bad life, Mr. S. But hey, you know what? Here's the thing. Is it sadder to come on to YouTube and TikTok and have a few drinks and hang out with cool folks and talk about whiskey? Or is it sadder to think that's not a good thing, but still hang out in the live stream and comment? I don't know. One seems like it's fun and you've got friends, and one seems like you're lonely with no friends and hanging out in somebody else's chat. I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong about that. I like Lot B. It's, you know, it's lower proof than the other ones. I think Lot B would probably be the best Pappy's if it was 107 proof. But it's a little on the low side. The green bottle in front of me, green bottle, this one right here is Blood Oath, packed number 8. Not much of a fisherman. Not much of a fisherman. A sweet oak tasting bourbon compared to a bitter oak. That's a good question. That is a good question. I'm trying to remember something I've had recently that was like a Russell's. Honestly, like a Russell's. And it could be different for each palate, right? So it could be different for each palate. So with like Russell's, like a 10-year-old Russell's hits me with a ton of bitter oak. It's still a really good whiskey, but it hits me with a ton of bitter oak. Whereas a sweet oak, most of the time, now I don't have one here to go back to, but like a Woodford double oaked hits me not so bitter, right? So it's a little sweeter on the oak. So you get the oakiness, but I don't get kind of that dry mouth feel with it, right? That kind of bitterness that comes with it. Haven't had Woodford Reserve Holiday. I'm in Opelika, Alabama. Rather have a Bud Light? Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, John. Grab a Bud Light, hang out. Haven't had Monk Road. LaGrange Mountain Spirits is another. LaGrange Mountain Spirits is in Alabama? Like that wouldn't be in LaGrange, Georgia? Eric, I'm not trying to be savage, but it's just like, what's wrong with people? I don't know. I probably should just ignore them. We try to keep a positive vibe. Every once in a while, I feel like what I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for, okay? So I don't mind detractors. I don't mind the haters. They're good for engagement, and honestly, you know, you can have a different opinion than I can. You cannot agree with the things I do. You cannot agree with the things I say. But if you're gonna come correct. Like all I want is a really good troll. A good one. Like come with something funny. Make me laugh about it. Like come with something good and I'll respect you. You get all the respect in the world. You will not get banned. I will have my moderators. I will let them know, leave this person alone. They are a A-level troll. But all we get are the idiots, right? And I'm like, just don't be an idiot troll. Be a good troll. And you can say negative things as long as you're funny and you actually say something original. Yeah, I'm in Alabama. Colbert County, Alabama. Interesting. I didn't realize that. Navy is the king of trolls. What's the difference in ancient age and ancient age? A ton of difference. Ancient age, don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Go get a benchmark, right? Pay a little more. I think ancient age is like $12. Benchmark's gonna be like 18. Not benchmark 8, but like a bonded or a top shelf. Go ahead and do that. Ancient age is like a whole different animal. It's I think we're gonna be what, 90 proof instead of 80 proof. It seems to be a good bit older. Like it's a much better whiskey. Maker's Mark's fine. I'm not a huge fan of just normal old Makers, but all of their, you know, limited or their wood finishing series, stuff like that's good. Haven't had Oak and Eden. Blanton's is a good whiskey. Got to troll the trolls. Oh, Andy. Nah, I'm an Auburn fan, unfortunately. We won't talk about that too much. We'll talk about that in a couple of years, few years, maybe 6 or 7, when we finally figure out how to win football games again. We'll talk about being an Auburn fan during basketball season. That's what we're relegated to now. We're just basketball fans now. Four Roses Bourbon and Coke. I don't know if I've had Four Roses and Coke. We should do that. Cheers, Nick. What trucker hat? I've actually, my hair's a mess. That's why I'm wearing a hat. But this is Red Clay. So Red Clay Brewing Company, local brewery here in town. I've put on the website some Brewzle trucker hats. I'm waiting on the sample to come in. They're taking forever to make me the sample, but pretty soon we will have trucker hats for Brewzle. I have nice wool hats for Brewzle. I don't think I have one here, but they're on Brewzle.com. But Man, they are hot. They're great during the winter, but if you're like down here, it gets kind of warm on these live streams with all the lights and computers and everything going. And then if I'm out working in the yard, like that's just too much. So I really needed a trucker hat, and my supplier just started making them. I like Angel's Envy, but it's port finish, so that detracts it a bit, but pretty good. No, Johnny, you're good, man. I don't, no problem. I was just kind of commenting on a guy on YouTube that was trying to troll. What was the score of the Auburn-Georgia game? Ooh, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It was bad. It was 40-something to, I don't know if we got 10, honestly. I don't know. War Eagle, Robert. What Evan Williams? This is a Evan Williams 12-year distillery-only release. Castle and Key small batches. I saw a local, well, I say local, over in Columbus, Georgia, a place dropped their wheated, Castle and Key wheated. Has anybody had the Castle and Key wheated? Should I have driven over there and picked that up? Because they may still have some. I haven't had their wheated. My take on Blanton's, again, Blanton's is a really good whiskey. I like Blanton's a lot. It's super hyped. Don't pay $150 for a bottle. You get it for 60, 70, 80 bucks. Buy it. You'll like it. I've never had a Buffalo Trace. I ain't Friar Tuck. The retail of Blood Oath, I have no idea. It was part of the package where, like, a guy sent me like 4, 5, 6 bottles and gave me a total. So I don't have an itemized price list on it, unfortunately. I'll have to look up MSRP though. Whistle Pig 18, haven't had it. Which benchmark is best? Right now, I'm enjoying the Bonded the most, but it just depends on your flavor profile. I have not tried that French single malts, no. Anything new on the barrel pick? Okay, so we are going, I've decided I'm going to move forward with the barrel pick. So we are going to do a barrel pick with Barrel Bourbon Company. What I'm waiting on right now is I've got a bottle from Barrel. I'm going to film a review of that probably Friday. I wanted to wait till that video was done and edited before reaching back out to talk to them. So we're gonna try to shoot that Barrel Vantage review, get that out, and then kind of communicate with them about the barrel pick and trying to put the logistics down. So the first, like what I'm gonna do is communicate with the patrons. So we have a Patreon set up, patreon.com/Brewzle if you want to support in that way. No worries if you don't. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get with that group and try to see how many of the patrons want to go on that barrel pick with me. You know, go to Louisville, sit down and pick that barrel. They have said 5, but honestly, if we wanted to take more, we might just lose some perks. Like they provide lunch and do all sorts of stuff. Realistically, we might just have to buy our own lunch, but that's fine. I'll order some pizza. We'll do it that way. You know, it's, hold on just a second. Let's just go ahead and we're just gonna report that guy and see if he enjoys not having a YouTube account anymore. We're gonna, you know, and we'll see how many want to go. And if we get limited to a certain number, we'll just have to do some sort of random drawing or something, or figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. So it's probably gonna go to patrons. Honestly, I don't think it'll get past patrons for the folks that actually get to go taste the barrel and try it out. But make sure you're in the Discord to catch up with the latest on the communications of that. So, hey, you know, Kyle, I knew we were going to lose. Like, I just want us to show up and fight, right? Like, that's the downside. Like, just show up and play. That's all. Like, we're just not even putting up a good show. Like, we should have not lost to LSU. We should have not been that close to Missouri. And we're going to get waxed again at Ole Miss this weekend, probably. So, only benchmark 8? Yeah, I would skip that one for sure. Made some of those handshakes for me and Nate. Well, if you make a trip to Columbus, let me know. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Quick question on the Blood Oath on the bar. Did you say you recommend it for the price? What's the price? Somebody look up the price, MSRP on this guy. Madison, Alabama in the house. 110, 120. There you go. You know, for 110, 120, with what whiskey is going for these days, I would say that's not a terrible buy. If you like a little bit of that kind of bitter oak on it, I think this, and honestly, this is another one of those that might, of course, I may be confusing it with that one. I think that's a pretty good bottle of whiskey. Yes, are there better values? Sure, but that's almost always the case. Pretty good bottle of whiskey. I didn't know Castle Key had a wheated either. I just saw it on the Bottle Shop's Facebook. today. So Blood Oath Pact 8 for 93. At 93, I would buy for sure. Marshall, so the Weller giveaway. Yeah, you know, and we were talking about that like we thought it was going to happen. I had a sponsor lined up to give away the Wellers, and they just never would sign the paperwork and send it in. Like they just literally never sent the paperwork that agreed that they would send the bottles out if I gave them away to somebody. So I just had to move on. Like if I can't trust them to send me a simple piece of paper, I can't trust them to send away a bottle. And honestly, that would have been a stain on my reputation. So appreciate it, Pilot. Well, we're trying to do more lives, so you should see us a little more. I was gonna go live Monday on TikTok. We just had some technical difficulties. I've had some Milam and Green. It was just Ben Milam when I had it. It wasn't Milam and Green, but it was pretty good. Elijah Craig is better than Blanton's. To each his own. That's hard to argue. Elijah Craig's fine, a fine bourbon. So I like Old Forester 100 proof. I really like the single barrel store pick 100 proofs particularly. Get a ton of folks asking to. I typically don't on these add somebody else, especially when we're, you know, because we are also streaming over on YouTube, and then it'd just be odd where I'm like, I can't do 3 things at once. The Old Granddad Bond is pretty good. We're going to do a review on that one pretty soon. Vienna sausage. Man, as a kid, when we used to go fishing with my dad, that's all he would take. Vienna sausages. Wieners, as we called them, being Southern children. Appreciate it, Johnny. Appreciate it. Barrel batch 33 in hand. Nice. Cards from Stockton, California in the chat. What's going on? What would be the timetable? So it's probably going to be 2 weeks before that video is shot and edited. So I'll probably shoot it Friday, and then it may get edited next week. It may be edited the week after that. And then I'm going to reach out to them. They didn't sponsor that video. They just sent me the bottle. So I just let them know when it's going to go live, right? That's all I'm really going to do is say, hey, we're going to post your video on this day. Just to give them a heads up that it's coming so they can be looking for it. And at that point, I'll say, okay, let's talk about the barrel pick. And I don't have to wait till then, but I'm, you know, kind of a one-track mind. I got 1,000 things going on. So that's when I'm going to be dealing with barrel. From there, they said 3-ish weeks to set up coming there to actually do the tasting. And then from there, it's going to be 2 months before you actually have the bottles at somewhere where people can, you know, they can be shipped. We could possibly do a pre-order so that they could all be bought ahead of time, which would help me figure out how I'm going to finance it without selling a kidney or something. But love Benchmark Bonded. Thank you, Enthuse. Haven't had Johnny Walker Blue, but I'm trying to find some. It's just expensive. Baker's 107. I love Baker's 7. I haven't had the new single barrel. I had the old style. I've got a few bottles of the old style Baker's 107 proof Baker 7, and I really, really like it. It's probably my favorite Jim Beam product, honestly. Bottle furthest to my right. This one is John Bowman, Pioneer Spirit single barrel. Really good bottle. I think that's going to be exceptional when it opens up. Uncle Nate. I don't know Uncle Nate. I think he was here earlier. I don't know if he's still in there. He may have had to work, man. Uncle Nate's been making that money. It's the time of year where he's busy. Waste my time looking for some Van Winkle. You know, you're not, I mean, if you're going out hunting just looking for a Van Winkle, you're probably not going to find it. Like realistically, at least not find it for a reasonable price. If you walk into a store and sit there, it's sitting there, it's going to be thousands of dollars. So that's, you know, unless you're wanting to pay that, if you want to pay that, just get on a Facebook group where people buy and sell them, and you can do that all the time. But usually how folks get them, like how I get the ones that I've got for the most part, is winning a lottery. So you either win a lottery with some store you know, are in their rewards program, or, you know, some other lottery. Here in Alabama, they have a state-run lottery, so I win some really good bottles from there occasionally. You know, and they do it once a year. This is packed 8. This is 8. E.H. Taylor's great. Yeah, this Blood Oath packed 8. M10, I haven't had M10 rye. I had a bottle of Michter's 10 rye. I think it was earlier this year. I don't know if it was a 22 or if it's like one left over from a previous year. But a buddy of mine really, really, really wanted it, so I moved it on. I wished I'd have kept it. Really do. Do I enjoy Booker's? Yes. Booker's is one of those flavors that just had to grow on me. Like when I first got that Booker's, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like that's kind of intense. High proof, tastes like dirt and peanuts, which just doesn't sound good. But the more I drank of it, the more it kind of grew on me, and I tend to really like Booker's these days. So much so that I found another of that exact same batch that I own, and I bought it not too long ago. Were you still going to pour some of that Elijah Craig barrel proof? I'm going to do a review on it. Like I literally have like 4 Elijah Craig barrel proofs open back there, and we just never drink them. Like let's pour some Elijah Craig barrel proof that I already have open. How about that? Lance, yeah, sorry about that. My voice tends to carry, man. The one time I went to Europe, because Europeans don't tend to like loud Americans. And I am very much a loud American. And if you get a little alcohol in me, my voice, like I lose control of my voice, right? I just don't realize that I'm being very loud and boisterous. It helps with things like this and microphones and all of that stuff. But, you know, it's oftentimes I forget where I'm at and that I'm in a public space and that my voice is just carrying all over the place. 2 bottles of Russell's 13, 700 per. God almighty knows. I have not had Bourbon 30, but Bourbon 30 does the Jay Mattingly stuff, and I have several Jay Mattinglys that I really like. Haven't had Calumet small batch, but I do like everything I've had from Penelope. It's pretty decent. Okay, Jack Honey. It's been a while, but I do like Jack Honey. I preferred the Wild Turkey American Honey to the Jack Honey, but I like them both. Best cheaper whiskey. If you're talking like bourbon, $17, you can get an Evan Williams Bottle and Bond white label. Weller Green Label, Weller 12, and Pappy's. Okay, so the Weller stuff is Buffalo Trace Wheated Mash Bill. The Weller, like what they do is they go pick the Pappy's barrels that they want, and those are run through a panel of tasting experts to say this is or is not Pappy's, and they get released as Pappy's. Well, the barrels that are left may go into various different Weller products. Doesn't mean they're subpar, it just means they weren't necessarily to the flavor profile. Weller Special Reserve is kind of watered down, 90 proof, easy sipper. 12 is also really low proof, but 12 years old, so it's a little oakier than the Special Reserve. Antique 107 is 107 proof, and honestly, to me, the perfect Weller expression. The full proof being the barrel strength Weller, which is also really, really exceptional. CYPB is good. Haven't had single barrel, but I don't think the CYPB is better than the full proof or the Antique 107 to me. But that's it. And then they have the William LaRue Weller that's released yearly as well, which is to me on that level with Pappy's, and I prefer the William LaRue I have on my shelf to Pappy's 15. One more cast with the super chats. Thank you. We've got a few super chats tonight, and that is so freaking exceptional. I'm excited about that. I'm going to take all of that money tomorrow, and I'm just going to buy something for a link. I may buy that hat. I may buy the hat we were posting in. I found the perfect 1972 cruising down the street in a Lincoln Continental hat, and I posted it in Discord. I may just go buy the hat for it. I don't know. There's so much to buy for the car. Is Maker's Mark a good whiskey? Yes, but normal old Maker's Mark is nothing super exceptional. But Maker's Mark makes a lot of exceptional things. A lot of folks prefer the Maker's Mark 46. I like the Maker's Mark 101. Their wood finishing series they do every year is freaking exceptional. Fifth, can't afford the high price good stuff. Dude, there's just so many good cheap whiskeys. Like, there's so many good cheap whiskeys. I have a ton of them. Like, I expect this to be a pretty good whiskey. Now, it's Kentucky only, but this is like a $12 bottle. I've got a ton of bottles behind me that are $30 or less. Appreciate it, drummer. The only Castle Key I have is a store pick restoration rye, and it is very rye, very intense rye. You found a Russell's Reserve 13 and a Willet Wheated on the shelf at Southern Spirits for MSRP. That's awesome, Richard. Southern Spirits does cool things. I went to Southern Spirits when I was headed up to Boston, but the guy I was supposed to meet there had to leave, quickly, and so I ended up not hooking up and talking to them. We were going to try to do some content together. It's just the J. Mattingly picks. So the ones I have open right now are the Wheated Wonderland and Flapjack. And I like both of those, especially that Flapjack. Blanton straight from the barrel's freaking, like, if Blanton's is good, Blanton straight from the barrel is just a whole nother league. Like, that is Stag Jr. good to me. Really. Wild Turkey, yeah, Wild Turkey, higher proof Wild Turkey. So 101, the Wild Turkey Master's Keep stuffs are always exceptional. The Russell stuff's good. It just hits me with a little too much oak. My volume control is broken sometimes. I understand. Let me catch up. Can I go on hot ones? Dude, if they would, that would be awesome. I am not famous enough for that, though. Hopefully your wife approves of you watching, though, Lance. That's the thing. Can never find Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Yeah, let me grab some. I'm gonna grab some, and y'all tell me which one to open up. I haven't tried Indian alcohol, no. Rutsey, Georgia is pretty loaded. Carrollton had a lot of Elijah Craig. Lance likes the hat. I won't get it till November 1st. Well, I mean, Cheech, I just go ahead and spend it and know it's coming back in, right? I put it on the credit card. The hat completes the look. Yeah, Rusty, in Discord, Cheech is Whiskey Encore. No, Pot Still's not exceptional. Exceptional bottle, not exceptional whiskey. It's not terrible. A white suit, suits are not my thing. But you know, if I dropped enough pounds, I might get like a good 70s style, you know, double-breasted suit or something. You know, maybe a corduroy suit. Batch B and Prices, if you ever seen, yeah, Pappy's is crazy. The Fable and Folly. I said I was going to try that. We're going to get that out, and then we're going to do some of this Elijah Craig stuff. So let me get that Fable and Folly. I got too many freaking Blantons in the way now that we opened all the Blantons in the last live stream. All right, so Fable and Folly right there. And then we're going to see, let's see. This is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And I pass on them. I come across this as an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And I come across Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs all the freaking time. And I just don't even buy them. Because I have like 4 of them open. I think I have one back there that's not open right now. And then I have this one that I just got that's not open. And it's like, I just haven't fallen in love with them. So, which one, if somebody here is an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof fan, which Elijah Craig Barrel Proof expression is going to get me to fall in love with them? Adam with the super chat. What do I think is the best MGP? The best MGP that I know is MGP for a fact, that I can think of right now on my bar, is that Old Scout ABC store pick right there. Purple suit like Prince's Purple Rain. Haven't drank Malort, but I've been avoiding it. Early Times Bonded's exceptional, but it's changed a little, right? So it was distilled by, like that was a Brown Foreman, and then it was sold to Sazerac or Buffalo Trace, people that own, and so it's a little different. Like it just doesn't seem to be quite as good. Some drinks you should try at the bar. If you just turned 21 and you just get, like if you just get an old fashioned. George T. Stagger, William LaRue, hands down. Barrel Proof Elijah Craig. Yes, that's what these are. These are Barrel Proof Elijah Craig. So unwatered down Elijah Craigs. Pre-2021 or a pirate bottle. Okay, so pre-2021. A117, right? So that's going to be 2017, right? It's going to be 2017 right there. A117. And you'll notice that's the one we've drank the most of, but obviously it's the one I've had the longest. I haven't had it since 2017. I think I found it dusty in a store probably in 2019, 2020. This is B521. All the rest of these are going to be 21s. 21, 21, 21 or later. This one is a B520, actually. You said before 21, so that's a B520. So those two are the ones you say would be the ones? 919, nice. Got my first Blantons, awesome. My favorite bourbon is William LaRue Weller. Elijah Craig A122 the other day. I don't think I saw that one. What is this one? This was an A122. Yeah. This was an A122 right here. in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, man. Gentry, thanks for joining. Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. Yeah, they tend to do that. They tend to just be everywhere. It's kind of like Henry McKenna 10 around here. You can't find it all year, and then like one day it's in every store everywhere. The Toasted Craig, that's up top. That's pretty good stuff. You want me to pour that Old Carter, that's a good bottle. That's a good bottle. 518. The Larceny Barrel Proof, we just opened one the other day. What is it, B522? Pretty good. We did a review. I have a review. It's dropping Friday. So we're doing a full review. The long form will drop on YouTube on Friday, and then we'll probably do a short. I haven't filmed the short of it yet, but we may do a short of it. But definitely check the B522 review. We're doing a completely new style. So we took, I don't know if any of y'all, if you're big time YouTubers, you may have heard of Doug DeMuro, does car reviews. And he rates a bunch of different aspects of the car, and then he does a total. Well, I was watching a live stream with ADHD Whiskey, and he was kind of working his way through that. So we picked 10 different aspects of the bourbon, from findability, price, bottle design, all the way through, flavors and mouthfeels and finishes and all these things. And we rank each aspect of it, and we give it a Brewzle score at the end. And so my hope is that video will allow us to rank a bunch of different ones, and it's less arbitrary, right? Like, it's still a little arbitrary, but it's less arbitrary, so that when you find this bottle and it scores 69 or 70, and you do this bottle and it scores 80, I think that's a better value, at least, or a better whiskey. It may not taste better because the packaging may be better, the availability may be better, things like that, right? But overall, it just gets a higher score, because what we want is transparency and availability. B520 is Cheech's favorite. That's one of the ones we had, right? That is the 520. This is the 117. This is the 520. We're gonna try Cheech's favorite right there. Bubble Bath in the house. 20 was a hitter. Nice. We did the spiral insert, so we threw it. It's been in here. It's been in here for months now. This probably tastes terrible, but I threw it in. We took an old tub and we actually distilled all the whiskey out to make it 160 proof, and then we put a spiral in it to see if it gets better. And I haven't tried that, and that's really high proof whiskey. At the end of the night, when I want to just scorch my taste buds before we go to bed, I'll give this a try. What is it, 9:30? We might only go in about an hour and a half. So maybe we may finish up in a half an hour. We may go for another hour. I feel like we'd probably stream till 11, as long as there's still folks hanging out and there's stuff to talk about. So we may try that at the end of the night. But if I try it now, I won't even be able to taste any of this crap. So, just started drinking bourbon. What would I recommend? Try a bunch of different stuff low proof. Get you an Elijah Craig, get you a Four Roses, 80, 90 proofers, get you a Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare if you can get it. Haven't had Blue Note Uncut, but I bet it'd be good. The worst whiskey I've ever had. Well, I won't talk bad about small distilleries, but they've all come from small distilleries. I don't want to do it because they may have gotten better, right? Yeah, same. If that's your first bourbon, the same thing I just said. Get a Buffalo Trace, get an Eagle Rare, get an Elijah Craig, get a Four Roses, something like that. Don't have any Irish, no high-end Irish. Met me before some car meets. Yeah, I still get out to them from time to time. I think maybe, is it this weekend? I think maybe next weekend they have the Cars and Coffee. I'll probably miss that because it's the bourbon drop. But yeah, I get out to them from time to time. We just bought the Lincoln, so I took it out the last couple of months. Or last month I was there with the Lincoln. Month before I was there with the Super B. Stag Junior B17. I don't know. I don't know what batches. I don't know what batch I've got open. The Orphan Barrel is freaking. Here's what's surprising about the Orphan Barrel, right? So I usually talk a little crap. Like 14 years is not usually good to me. Once it gets like that high in age, I oftentimes get bitter oak. But if it's that old, it has to be proofed down. And I want to say this guy was 90 proof. Is that right? Yeah, 90 proof. So normally 90 proof is not exceptional to me either. So you have to cut the proof to make it, you know, not bitter oak when it's that old, but then the proof makes it not exceptional. But this cuts through all of that. Like, that is not an accurate statement on any of this. This is a 90 proof whiskey. It has some oakiness, but it's not bitter oak. I don't get that kind of dry bitterness. I get a nice sweet oak. It's got a little nuttiness, kind of like a, you know, maybe a Jim Beam product. But it's got an a lot of complexity for a 90 proof whiskey. Like, a lot of complexity for a 90 proof whiskey. Eagle says nobody likes a quitter. There you go. You're right. You're right. See, that's a good troll. Appreciate it, Steve. Oh, gives you a reason to drink on the porch. I don't know. Man doesn't need a reason to drink on the porch. All right, let me catch up here on YouTube. I'm a little behind, but it looks like they're all talking amongst each other, which is awesome. If you like whiskey, you're weird? Maybe. I don't drink Jameson. I mean, I have some Jameson, but honestly, I liked the freaking Proper 12 better than the Jameson. I have tried Coy Hill, Josh, and it was freaking exceptional. I'm still trying to get a bottle, but I don't have it. Chris saw the link in there. We'll take the Fairlane next time. Yeah, man, bring that Fairlane out. I'd love to see it. Now, you were there with your friend he was in a Fairlane, right? If I'm remembering correctly, he had the Fairlane, and you were with him. But correct me if I'm wrong. Just picked up IPA and B22 of Elijah Craig. Too much open. That's my problem as well. But when you create content, like, you just got to keep opening them, and then you end up with a whole bunch of bottles you probably never drink. I need a Knob Creek 18. I do need one. I'm gonna find one. I like Knob Creek 12. Again, pretty oaky though. Pretty oaky, but I do like it. Tequila's better, and I'm from Kentucky. Well, you know, Linton, Carter, we'll just agree to disagree. Alexander's new to bourbon and new to the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Just saw the muckety muck in Florida, too expensive for my taste. Yeah, somebody gave me this bottle. I was at the Bourbon Junkies thing in Like Time, the Likes. They're like, it was kind of time. It was the end of the bourbon exchange, and they're like, here, you want this bottle? I was like, yes, absolutely. So I'm excited about it. Glad to have it. Russell's 13. I mean, if you got it at a decent price, open that sucker up. If you want to make some money, sell it. I get that too. Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel for 60 bucks. Yeah, I think so. I like that bottle. If you like vanilla flavor, if you can handle a little oakiness to go with it, I would get a Woodford Double Oaked. Maybe even like if you wanted to go a little cheaper, I get a lot of vanilla, kind of a toasty marshmallow on Benchmark Bonded. Favorite Maker's Mark, FAE01. Their wood finishing series from last year was really, really good. Brevard made it. Thoughts on Weller 12? It's my least favorite Weller. It's still a good whiskey, but it's my least favorite Weller. This is Fable and Folly. I don't have a bottle of the Art of Spirits Distillery. Haven't seen that. Pensacola in the house. Was down that way not long ago. Hey, Logan, thanks. Hang out. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for drinking with me. Got the Knob Creek 18 today. Have you tried it? Michigan loves me. I love Michigan. That trip up to the thing with the Bourbon Junkies was my first time in Michigan. I really enjoyed it. Toasted is good. It's good stuff. Let's see. What would you trade for a Coy Hill? We cannot talk about things like this in places like this, but I've got a DM in Discord, and we can move it to text message, and we can have all sorts of conversations about all sorts of things, you know? Just say it. Just say it. How many whiskeys? Okay, so I thought I was up close to 300, so I counted the other day, and I am not. I've gotten rid of a ton, but we've been buying a lot for content, so I thought I was more than what I actually am, but I think I'm 250, 60-ish right now. We get some of the hard to get bourbons at the exchange on base. All of them. I'm looking for all of the rare ones. Every one of them. If you're like, this is rare, wonder if Brewzle would like it. Yes, he would. If he's got it, still would like it. Pretty simple. So get in the Discord, ping me, say I've got this right now, send me a DM, and if I answer within a minute, we'll work it out. Secondary is too high. Yeah, Brent, so secondary on the Russell's 13, realistic secondary, they were going for like 500-ish bucks on secondary. I don't know if they're still at that. I quit checking that kind of stuff. Love you too, Carter. Thanks for hanging out with me. If 500 bucks is a lot of money to you, and that Russell's is probably not something you're really going to enjoy, then, you know, do what you got to do. I don't sell whiskey just because it's not exactly legal, and I try to not do illegal things. You know, we may trade from time to time. We may do some different things, right? But I don't ever sell it. I just don't want to get, I'll be the guy they make an example out of, right? And the bigger this channel gets, the more likely they are to make an example out of me. So I just avoid it. But you do you. Like, I'm not hating on folks who wait in line and flip them on secondary or do the hunting and flip them. Like, it's a hustle. I get it. It sucks. I'd love to have them, but I'm not hating on folks. Is Blade & Bow a gimmick? A little bit. It's a good whiskey. I don't know if it's necessarily, what, 60, 70 bucks that those go for, but it's pretty good. It's a little simple. It's a little sweet, kind of simple whiskey, but, you know, it's fine. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a marketing gimmick with the key and all that stuff. Picked up a Caribou. So that's Canadian whiskey. I've got a store-picked Caribou that I didn't care for, and I haven't had just a regular release, so that may be exceptional. Also, I'm not a huge Canadian whiskey drinker, so I'm not sure. I'm impressed how well you remember all the bourbons you've tried. Yeah, you know, there's some of them I kind of forget, but that's one of the reasons I keep the bottles and I drink them over years, right? Because I want to, when somebody here asks, like, honestly, if somebody's like, how is that bottle, and I don't feel like drinking it, next time I decide to have a pour, I'll try it so that I can remember it and talk about it next time. So, distributor for a liquor in Houston, Texas. Love the Toasted Barrel. Nice. It's good stuff, man. I haven't had Lagavulin. Don't know. Master Troll is back, man. See, Master Troll is not a great troll, but he's not terrible. Like, he knows, he can say just enough to where he's not going to get hammered or banned, right? Just enough. So, welcome, Master Troll. I appreciate you coming back, man. Afraid you'd put it in a lawnmower? We only did that once. And there's a long story behind that. We were not trying to start that lawnmower, so. Don't drink a lot of gin. No, my wife bought a gin. We tried it on the last live stream, and oh, Lord. I would love to find a Midwinter Nights dram from this year. I have one from a few years ago. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I keep wanting to try them because they're so well liked that I want to really, you know, I want to give it a fair shake. My most expensive whiskey is that Pappy 15 up on the top shelf there. The Jack Daniel with honey ones, yes. I'm going to buy some more of those. We're about to start doing some videos on those. I preferred the Wild Turkey American honey, if you're just looking for a honey whiskey, to the Jack Daniel's one, but that's just my taste buds. I thought the Jack Daniel's one come across a little more butterscotchy, if I'm remembering correctly, so. Vest. So it's smooth, you liked it, good. Then hopefully I was a positive influence. That's a good one. I haven't drank a lot of Japanese whiskey, Jason. I'm gonna have to try. I missed that link. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep up with two chats. 2 or 3 of the smoothest silky whiskeys. Again, smooth is usually, like Jack Daniel's stuff is usually pretty smooth. So that Sinatra Select, really, really smooth whiskey. Goes down super easy. Other than that, really is about, you know, typically low proof stuff that goes down really smooth. I'm trying to look back here and see, like, I'm not looking for smooth. I'm looking for high proof. I'm looking for 107 proof. I want a little burn. Old Forester's a really smooth whiskey, like 86 proof Old Forester goes down really, really well. I think Basil Hayden's going to be a nice smooth whiskey for you as well. Not my favorite, but it goes down easy. One of the reasons people like it so much. You got a bottle of Double Eagle? Like 20-year-old Double Eagle decanter bottle Double Eagle? I wished I had one. That would be the things we would do with that bottle. Bombergs or Shanks. I've never had a Bombergs or Shanks. Both, they're made by Michter's, if I'm not mistaken. I think I would like both of those. I've passed on them a few times, but I haven't pulled the trigger. But I didn't know they were Michter's, or I would have bought them, to be honest with you. They were just casualties of me having 3 or 4 bottles I was looking at and passing up on those. All right, so let me try to catch up here. Jason says they've been killing it. I hear they've been killing it. I really need to get into it. I really do. Knob Creek 15 years, not worth... No. I don't think 15's better than 12 at all. Really don't. Hit the 60 bottle mark, not counting doubles. Now, my 100, 250-ish are going to be doubles. The difference between a rye and a Kentucky bourbon. So a Kentucky bourbon is 51% corn on the mash bill, and then whatever cereal grains after that. Rye doesn't have that requirement, so it's going to be a really high rye, right? It could be 100% rye, it could be 51% rye, whatever, but it's going to be majority rye, and so they're going to taste a lot different. Like rye has a lot of spice to it. All right, let me know. We're going to start with. We're going to do B520 or A117. Pick in the chat. Josh is a tater. Look at Josh. Josh is a tater. I'm a tater too, man. I'm a tater. I don't mind taters. I'm like, call me a tater. I'm good with it. Lucky 7 Frenchman. Nice. Don't drink like Avalon. Jack Coy Hill, best high proof pour ever. I would say, because it was 140 plus proof. I can't name another whiskey I had that high proof that I thought was better. The bullet stuff I've had is really good, and I'm about to start buying some more. A lot of YouTubers seem to be loving it right now, so I need to get in some. Angel's Envy, again, port finish, not my jam, but as far as port finishes go, Angel's Envy is a really good one. Drinks pretty easy. McKenna Bottle and Bond. I love some of the McKenna Bottle and Bond, honestly. They're really good stuff. It varies from batch to batch, but I think they're pretty good whiskey. The best Old Forester birthday bourbon that I own. Some of the things that Bourbon Kingdom over on YouTube has, some of his, like he has like bottle in line only bottles. You had to be an employee, and like some of the President's Choice stuff. Like some of those are really good. But the ones that I own and have drank quite a bit of is birthday bourbon. But that one's hard to get. So if you limit it from there, I really like the barrel strength single barrel store picks. But you can also have a really nice experience with a 1920. Like I like the high proof from that. But Benchmark Full Proof's good stuff. B520, 520, 520. Everybody's picking the 520. We're going to go with that. Yeah. The regular release 1920. There you go. Exactly. We agree with that. I don't drink Lagavulin. I just don't drink a lot of scotch. So stores in Arizona trying to sell Weller Green Label for $100, just walk on out, man. You're not getting anything good there. Angel's Envy's only good chilled. Interesting. I need to try that. The Basil Hayden 10, like somebody, again, I know the YouTube chat. I'm sure we've got some folks in the TikTok chat that know, but I had a Basil Hayden 10 year. I took it to one of the whiskey drops and we just drank it out in the parking lot. We just sat out in the parking lot and had a pour and enjoyed it. So I didn't drink a ton of it because we had a bunch of folks there enjoying it. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't Basil Hayden like 8 or 9 years already? Like, isn't Basil Hayden already 8 or 9 years? So the markup for a 10, like that's what somebody was telling me there. And I'm like, I don't really know. I don't drink a lot of Basil Hayden. It's been a while since I've had Noah's Mill. I remember it being good, but not good enough for me to buy another one. Angel's Rye. Interesting. The Heaven Hill, the Bottle and Bond's pretty good. I've got the green label over here, the 6-year Heaven Hill. I didn't care much for it, but I like the Bottle and Bond. I don't drink it a lot, but when I go to it, it delivers. Widow Jane, 10 years good, 13's exceptional, 15 was no bueno. What's up, Blind Pig Basement Pub, man? How's it going? It's been a while since I've seen some of your content. I don't know. TikTok's not serving it to me lately. But you're the one that has like that cool hidden basement bar, right? If I'm not mistaken. How much should I pay for Blanton's? I buy Blanton's at under $100. So if it's 99 bucks, I just buy it. Like every time I see it, if it's 99, I have like a bunch of bottles here. I saw it the other day for 99 bucks. I just bought it. Like that's just pull the trigger. And so and usually it's just because I know somebody will want it or I can give it away or something like that, but I will not pay $100 for it. But that, that's just me. If I'm just judging it on the whiskey and just the enjoyability and not the fact that I know somebody really wants it or I can give it away and somebody will really like it, I would probably be in that 70, 75. Woodford or Bullet. If you're talking about limited release stuff, like anything from their brand, Woodford. All right, so we poured the 520 and I've been running my trap. C batch is better than B batch, is better than A batch. So C is better than B, is better than A. If you like Buffalo Trace and you want some alternatives that you might be able to find, like Ancient Age is really good, or the Benchmark, not any of the other benchmarks are going to be really good as well. Yeah, this is Elijah Craig Barrel Strength. That's what this is. And again, if y'all are into Discord, if you're not into Discord, freaking sign up for Discord. That is freaking good. In TikTok, the Discord is my link, is in my bio. And over here, Cheech has been dropping it for me. Actually, it looks like Rusty's dropping it for me. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot for 99 bucks, but I'll buy it just because, like, I know somebody's hunting it and they're it's 130, 140 bucks. If I were just going to drink it, like I said, 70, 75 bucks is what I would pay for it. Smoke Wagon is just MGP sourced whiskey. So the one I've got is just fine. It's fine. It's not a bad whiskey. MGP makes good whiskey. But I haven't had all of their line, but the one I have is just okay. Craig Barrel Proof, one of my favorites. So like, this is a good bottle of whiskey. This is a good bottle. I mean, you see that we haven't drank a lot of it. I want to say we had it on a live stream, so recently, and I was like, that's pretty good whiskey. It's got a little nuttiness to it. There's some interesting kind of like deep, dark kind of sweetness to it. Like really intense sweetness to it. It doesn't have a ton of burn to me. Now, I drink a lot of high proof stuff. For something that is 127.2 proof. Like, it's got a lot of alcohol in it. So probably not for your casual observer here, but that's a good whiskey. Still not my favorite, but it might be my favorite Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. We're going to try this one next. But like, I don't know. I think it's the nuttiness that throws me off on this. Because it's got some dark flavors there, like some intense flavors, and the nuttiness for me, and it's a subtle nuttiness, but it just kind of cuts through them. And it's unwanted. Like, it's not unpleasant, but I'm like, something's developing, and that nuttiness just kind of takes it over. And that just kills like, I'm expecting it to crescendo into something really spectacular, and then it's like, oh, nuttiness, right? So it's good, but there's just something subtle about it that keeps this one from being just like that, oh my God, I love Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs one. All right, what do we got? Just got back, had to tune in. Eric, thanks for swinging by and hanging out. I did not find the Heaven's Door Decades, no. B520, it's good. This is good. Now, it's a good one. It just is not that one where it's like, I gotta have this. What's the main difference between Scotch and bourbon? There's a lot. Like, bourbon is 51% corn. It has to be made in the U.S. It's in new charred oak barrels. So usually the flavors of bourbon are super intense because it's a brand new charred oak barrel. Scotch is going to do some different things. I don't know all of the requirements of Scotch, but I do know they put it in used barrels, and the weather is usually not as intense as far as fluctuations go in Scotland. So they just don't have quite the same intensity of flavors. And so they're going to be a little different, right? Or a lot of different. Town Branch. Sorry, Dustin, if I've missed that on previous ones. I have not had Town Branch. So have not been avoiding your question. Sometimes they just scroll really quickly and you get unlucky. I apologize if I missed it. Castle and Key. The only Castle and Key I've had is the Restoration Rye. It was a store pick. I found it incredibly intense rye flavors, which I'm not a huge fan of. If you're into, like if you have a Sazerac rye and you like a Sazerac rye, that Restoration Rye store pick I have is going to be right up your alley because I found it a lot better than that Sazerac Rye. Clyde Mays, I like a lot of Clyde Mays stuff. GB Talk, what's going on? What would I pay for an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof? I think I see these regularly for like 80-ish bucks, right? Isn't that, what's the MSRP on this? I think I see them for around there. I'm not going to pay a lot more because I just haven't found that one that's like, I freaking love it. Oh, let's see. I want to be a whiskey guy heading to the liquor store tomorrow. What's a good bottle to snag? 50 to 60 price range. 50 to 60 price range. Get a Woodford Double Oaked. Or if you like super high proof. See, if you're not a whiskey guy, I don't want to give you something that's super high proof. So get a Woodford Double Oaked and let me know what you think about it. Four Roses single barrel strength is probably my favorite. The 2020 limited release was really good as well. Must not miss distilleries on the bourbon trail. I haven't been to a lot of them. We're about to film some content on that next year, though. I'm literally going to try to go to all of them. It's crazy. Favorite bargain bourbon? Evan Williams Bottle and Bond at like 17 bucks. You can't beat. The benchmark stuff at $20, really hard to beat. Wild Turkey 101 at 25 is exceptional. Nice, some McKenna. Evan Williams, yeah, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond's exceptional. We were trying Evan Williams 12. That's a really good whiskey, although it's distillery only and kind of pricey. Adam says it's $25. What's $25? I missed it. Oh, Old Granddad? Yeah, Old Granddad 114 is really good. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting, Brandon. Like a deep, dark fruit, but then like it's developing into a sweet finish, and then I kind of get a nuttiness instead. And it may be, I'm expecting it to be like a dark cherry like you would get on a Weller product, and instead it turns into like a date or a plum. Like maybe I do get some of that though, and then that nuttiness kind of cuts through it. So entry level high proof, right there. Old Granddad 114 is a good one. Jump into that, and then get a Wild Turkey rare breed at like $45-ish, 114 proof. Really, really good whiskey. That's the best, probably the best bottle of whiskey you can get in any liquor store anywhere for under 50 bucks. Most places under 50 bucks. Like everybody's different. Haven't had I.W. Harper. Angel's Envy's good. The port finished. Really like the Double Oak. Yeah, that's a good one. What's going on, boss player? Haven't had Whistle Pig 15. Does ice ruin bourbon? It depends. It depends on your experience and what you're trying to do, right? I don't like ice in my bourbon. It brings out a sharpness. It almost tastes like hairspray to me. It does ruin the experience for me, but not for everybody, right? It can cut it down. And I apologize, I missed some. How the poison tastes to someone who likes their steaks well done. What are you talking about? I don't like my steaks well done. Appreciate it, Spire. I haven't had Bullet Dry Orange with Envy Rye. Thank you. Oh, I don't know how to say OGSAL. OG Sal, maybe? Says I'm their favorite bourbon reviewer. Thank you. I'm the least helpful bourbon reviewer, so you don't like being helped. That's a joke. We had somebody call us, we did a bourbon review, and somebody's like, this is not helpful at all. And I'm like, I think it was one of the tasting notes videos. Somebody's like, this is not helpful at all. And so we just put world's worst bartender and least helpful bourbon reviewer. That's our tagline now. I don't know about Cowboy Little Batch. All-time favorite, William LaRue Weller. So what a store pick. All right, I'm going to catch up and then I'm going to get to that one. Ghost Town's tuning in for the first time. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in and hanging out. I mean, we've had a pretty good crowd here tonight. All right, so Bowman single barrel in the bar. This is good stuff. Yeah, this Bowman, where'd I put it? Over here. This Bowman single barrel is solid right there. $75 for the Elijah Craig out the door. Yeah, so I see them for $80-ish. That's, if it's $100, I'm not buying it. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at. Penelope barrel strength is exceptional. I like it. Store pick means that a store, so like we're going to do a Brewzle store pick. We are working with Barrel Bourbon Company to do a Brewzle store pick. So basically what we would do is we would go to Barrel, and they're going to give us a bunch of different whiskeys to sample. We're going to try them, and then we're going to buy an entire barrel. And so that entire barrel is a Brewzle pick. And so we'll work with a retailer to where we can be all legal and sell them and everything. And then that barrel will be bottled by Barrel and sent to them. and then, you know, folks can buy it and enjoy it. So a store pick is really where a store buys an entire barrel. So they're almost always single barrels. Not always. So like even our barrel pick, I don't think technically it'll be a single barrel because they're going to do a blend of 3 different barrels for us. But it's really where you just buy the entire barrel for you. So the interesting thing about those is they can be a little different. Like they kind of pick what they like. And so if you find a store that has somebody that does the picks that has a similar flavor profile to you, then you could really find some interesting expressions. Kyle, appreciate you hanging out, man. Take it easy. Yeah, J-Eggs, anytime. You can't go wrong with Rare Breed. Any Kentucky bourbon is better than Tennessee whiskey? Maybe. Houston, Texas in the house. Did you just tell your wife that you were doing this show so you could drink bourbon hassle-free? Nah, not really. She's cool. Like, I got it made, man, as far as wives go. I really have it made. I'm in Opelika, Alabama. Jefferson's Reserve. Okay. Nothing wrong with a good Jefferson's. I don't like their finished stuff because they go a little crazy with their finished whiskey. Their wood finishing series is a lot of fun. The Jefferson's Ocean stuff depends on the voyage. Not a huge fan of Elmer T. Lee. Not for the value, like what the secondary market. If you get it in MSRP, it's a fine whiskey, but $250, $300 secondary, We'll be able to buy you barrel pick. Yes, you should be able to. I mean, obviously, we'll be trying to promote it because I'm scared to death. I'm not going to be able to sell it. I've got to sell 150 bottles. Now, they're going to be $110 a bottle, but they're going to be really high proof. Like, we're going very serious whiskey to start with. The MSRP is 110. Like, that's not my price. That's what the company that puts them out says you need to sell them for this. So I'm not marking them up or anything over what they tell me they need to be sold for. But I'm still nervous that I'm not going to be able to sell 150. I got to sell 150 bottles just to break even. Maybe more, maybe 160, 170 bottles just to break even. So, you know, I'm not trying to make a bunch of money. I'm just trying to do something fun. Dustin, War Eagle. WS Driver with a War Eagle in there as well. Best vanilla note whiskey. Again, Woodford Double Oak for me is the one that has the nice pronounced vanilla, but it also kind of contrasts with a nice oakiness, and you can really pick out the vanilla. The Benchmark Bonded has a nice vanilla note as well. Stag's really, really good. All right, let's try this other 117 here. Yeah, Rob, we do have, especially on TikTok, we've got a lot of beginners, but even on YouTube, and that's part of creating shorts, right? I'll get a fresh Glen. We're gonna go with the letter C. Is this a C batch? Was this a C batch? This was an A batch. So let's go with the letter A. This is just glasses we have labeled for our blinds. But it's, you know, just doing shorts, we can appeal to a little wider audience. We tend to try to make our shorts as widely appealing as possible, and that really helps just kind of grow that. Lee, thanks for the roses. Just kind of helps, you know, grow the audience a little more. So we end up with a lot of folks in here that are just kind of new into whiskey. And, you know, hopefully we can be a good ambassador for that, right? It's one of the reasons we have the Discord as well. Rusty just dropped in there. For TikTok, it's over in my bio. Jump in that Discord, ask questions there. I'm happy, and, you know, I'll answer them, but there's a lot of other folks, a lot of experienced folks drinking Woodford Double Oaked. A lot of experienced folks that can answer your questions over there. Haven't had 1792 small batch. I've seen it a couple times, but I haven't pulled the trigger. I'm going to buy some Bullet. It's coming. It's coming soon. Haven't had Oregon Spirits. Paralis Rye? Or is that Peerless? I haven't had Paralis. Or Kessler. Something about Pappy 23. I missed Orc's comments. The most expensive bottle is the Pappy 15. Peerless. Yeah, Peerless is good. I haven't had their rye, but their bourbon's really good. Writing for Whiskey Advocate, you know, it's just time, right? It takes a lot of time to do stuff like that well. And so it just, you know, when are we selling? Again, get in Discord. I will be dropping them in there. I'll obviously be creating videos around it because I want a video going and doing that whole experience and document it. Heck, we may, if I can, I may even live stream us there tasting the different things and hanging out. So we'll see how all that goes. But make sure you're in the Discord. Again, if we go, you know, I'm going to try to hit them up next week, maybe the week after, to try to set a date, and then it'll be 2 or 3 weeks after that, and then a couple of months before the bottles are ready. So we're probably 3 months out before that happens. In on the barrel and purchasing several bottles. Lance is in. What are the 3 barrels mixed? Oh, no, it's going to be barrel proof. So this, Brandon, this is what I told them I wanted. This right here is one of my favorite bottles I had this year. And it's definitely my favorite bottle from Barrel Company right here. So this is a Total Wine and More store pick, but it's one of their blends. So this is Barrel Bourbon Private Release, and this is a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. This has 40% 5-year, 30% 10-year, 20% 14-year, and 10% 16-year. It is 114.2 proof. And this is freaking exceptional. Like, I still want to do high proof. But it's a blend of different aged whiskeys to kind of get a particular flavor profile. Just got the Barrel Vantage. About to do a review on that. I'm gonna shoot that on Friday, I think. Only 1 bottle in the budget. Hey, I understand that, Eric. And no hate if you can't do it, man. You know, it's no problem whatsoever. I appreciate you hanging out and just, you know, being a part of the experience. Well, you should be able to. Like, we're going to try to hook up with somebody that can ship it. There's certain states you can't ship to, but we'll even figure out how to make that work. So, Elijah wants my first bottle new to this. Nice. Diving in. Oh, Michter's is good stuff. I like some of the Ezra Brooks stuff. Their normal stuff is fine, not to my flavor profile. But some of their higher proof stuff is pretty good. Their master distiller stuff was actually really good. Calumet 15-year-old, nice. Haven't had Brothers Bond. Bottle and Bond. So Bottle and Bond, realistically, there's a whole meaning behind it. Realistically, it used to mean it's good, it's high quality whiskey. May be good to you, may not be, but realistically what it means now is it's 4 years old, it's 100 proof. That's really the important things. I should be at the drop next weekend, yes. I should go over to Auburn. They're dropping Weller Antique 107, and I need some bottles. It's kind of like the Bardstown Fusion, although I don't really want finished whiskeys in my mix. What bourbon disappointed you the most? Elmer T. Lee. Rare Breed is underrated. Elmer T. Lee's fine, and it didn't disappoint me because it's bad. It's disappointing because it's priced like it's great, and it's just okay. DL's in for 2 bottles. We are trying to do our own store pick with Barrel. So we'll go with a major label like this, and it'll say Brewzle store pick right here or something on it. And you know, I'm gonna go work with them. We're gonna take some folks on our Patreon. So we got our Patreon set up, and we've got, you know, what, 16 or so folks in Patreon right now. So we'll pick 4 or 5 or 10 of those, and we'll go do it. How did you pick up notes? So when I first started, really, you're not gonna pick up a ton of notes, right? Start low proof, work your way up, get a good glass, and just drink a lot of whiskey. Read other people's tasting notes, watch other bourbon YouTubers, and see if you can pick up some of the same things. Like, that's one way to really, like when he says dates and plums over here for that Elijah Craig, he's exactly right. And I was feeling some dark fruit coming through, but I wouldn't have called it dates or plums. I just call it dark fruit, but that's what dark fruit is, kind of a date or a plum. 2 bottles of Weller 12, nice. Bourbon is best at room temperature to me, yes. Was a good bourbon to start with. Again, go get yourself a 4 Roses, get an Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, 100 proof, white label Evan Williams. Get yourself a Buffalo Trace or an Eagle Rare, right? Those are like 90-ish proof. Start with those. We get some pretty good drops in Alabama. It's not too bad, not too bad. Well, for this tasting, I'm using Glenn's. If you're talking about like their thing, I don't know. I may bring my own Glen. Stag is the hero we don't deserve. Stag's good stuff, man. So I'm hoping, yeah, if you're like, I'm going to take my own Glen just in case. If they break out something like a rocks glass, they're not going to do. They got to have Glens. Well, I mean, that's the info. So the info on the store pick is, and honestly, I don't know if I tell y'all this, they may tell me I can't pick it because I don't know. But I'm expecting, and we don't have any real strong specifics. That's what I'm going to reach out for soon. But the specifics are, I'm going to try to come up with a flavor profile kind of similar to this. This has an interesting sweet, kind of peachy sweetness with some sweet oak on it. Really, really good bottle with a lot of complexity to it. So I'm going to try to do something similar. And the barrel's going to cost me like $15,000-ish. I think that's what a barrel goes for. And that's like, I don't have a set price with them, but that's what barrels go for when you do this kind of thing. All bottled up, obviously. You're not just sourcing a barrel. Now, if you're buying a bunch of barrels, you can get them cheaper, but just buying one, that's kind of what they cost for somebody like me. And different distilleries may be a little cheaper, and they want me to sell it at about MSRP for this, private release, and that's $110. Like that's pretty much all the info I have right now. Straight whiskey is more important than bottle and bond? I mean, to a certain degree, yeah. I mean, I like bottle and bond just because I know it's 100 proof, and I like 100 proof, and it's 4 years old, and I think the extra age helps. You do need to try some Elijah. I have not tried TX yet. Don't drink a lot of Canadian. Oh, the Elijah Craig Toasted's my jam for sure. Like, I like Elijah Craig, but this is just kind of, This one's good. It's not as good as that one. This one, that kind of dark fruit sweetness is not as pronounced as it is in that one. So this one's just kind of gets to the nuttiness. Yeah, I would love, I mean, if we can print the logo on the store pick bottles, great. If not, I may just print my own logo and tater sticker the back or something. Like, we will figure that out for sure. I want the logo on there. We did a video on Sinatra. Just check the channel. It came out like last week before last. Pretty good whiskey. Dano, what's going on? Patreon? Patreon. Oh, Patreon. Patreon. Yes. I'm Southern. I keep messing up. It's patrons, but the site is Patreon. Patron. I don't know. But they're like, if you're a patron, it doesn't have an E, but the site, Patreon, has an E. I don't know. So I try to say it right. I just say patron, I guess. I don't know. Don't ask me to pronounce things, man. Come on. I appreciate it. Zayn Brevard, is that right? Yeah, the quality's a lot better on YouTube for sure. How many shots deep? Well, we're not drinking full shots, but at this point, 7. High and low for the Elijah Craig Toasted. What's going on, Bourbon Dude? Picked up a bottle, but I think Basil Hayden Toast. Interesting. Okay. I haven't had the Basil Hayden Toast, so I don't know. Basil Hayden in general, it's a fine, easy sipper. It's a good whiskey made by Jim Beam. It goes down really easy. If you're just getting into bourbon, you're probably going to like it. For me, I want a little more intensity of flavors than what I get from a Basil Hayden. The Weller White Label is called CYPB, Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as the full proof of the 107 though. But I haven't blinded them back to back. Haven't had Crown XR. Oh, 49 for Weller Full Proof. Man, enjoy that. Canadian whiskey's not snubbed or looked down upon to me. It's just not my flavor profile. So, Fishing Man, I mean, I'm feeling it a little bit, but not too bad. I just sometimes can't talk, right? My brain works a little faster than my mouth sometimes. And the more I drink, the slower my mouth works. And my brain just keeps going at full speed. And then it just all kind of goes downhill from there. Maybe make it bring a special event Glen glass for everyone at the tasting. It's pretty smart, Brandon. I like that idea. What's going on, Douglas Carver? Oh, no, I don't want any George Dickel in my blend for sure. Like, I hate it. So why use a Glencairn? So this just kind of concentrates the aromas and flavors. If you're drinking whiskey neat, you're not putting ice, you're not mixing it, this is by far the way to do it. A glass like this. There are other ones, but like this. Thin legs, no velvet mouthfeel? Oh, what are you talking about? Close? All right, I'm sorry. Dude, I can't even pronounce patron. So, I'm definitely not going to get names right. I've not tried Smooth Ambler Founder's Cask Strength, no. Basil's trash, I mean, I wouldn't call it trash, but it's not something I drink a lot of, for sure. The Smoke Wagon I have is fine. I think it's just MGP sourced whiskey, which MGP makes good whiskey. None of the ones I've had have just blown my socks off, though. Highly recommend the 24. Nice. I've got the 22. I don't know. Do I have... I don't know if I have the 24. Let me look and make sure. How do I find to get all my high-end bottles? Friends find them and help me. So a lot of these we've been drinking tonight, somebody helped me find and send it to me. Just stopping at stores and talking, building relationships with folks, you know, going to the same liquor store over and over and building that relationship. You know, like I said, just going store to store and getting lucky and then winning some lotteries. So in Alabama, they have a whole lottery and you can win them that way. Let me see what oceans I have back here. I have 22. This one is cask strength. What is the voyage on that? 21. And then I have voyage 17. So I don't have 24. Adam Rhodes with the super chats. What's your I haven't had TX whiskey. I'm gonna have to try it. I get a lot of requests. So I really need to know more about it. Ricky with the super chat. What's my favorite bourbon? It's gonna be William LaRue Weller or Weller Antique 107 for ones that I drink a little more regularly. Got a few different Wellers. Just need the full proof. Nice. Eagle Rare 10-year and Blanton's. Man, that's a good collection. Or selection, I should say. We don't have collections. I mean, you may have a collection. I have a selection. Collections are to be looked at. Don't know anything about the number 28 gold. Is it 28? I was thinking it was 27. Anyway. FAE 02 is actually really good. Someone offered to trade for the Weller Full Proof. I don't think I'd make that trade. FAE 01 I preferred a little bit to the FAE 02. But if somebody wanted to get rid of a Weller Full Proof for an FAE 02, I might have one laying around. I do like it, but I just don't think it's quite that level. I have had Russell's 13. I didn't think it was worth the hunt. I think it's good. And it just gives, like all the Russell stuff gives me a bitter oak that turns me off a little bit. I do not like lime in my bourbon. No, I do not drink bourbon with ice. I just don't like the flavors that it brings out in the bourbon. Had the Basil Hayden red wine. Interesting. Haven't had that. Booker's. Love Booker's. It's something that had to grow on me, but I do enjoy it very much. Have 24. Didn't care for it. Interesting. I like Buffalo Trace. Well, I like Michter's. Not necessarily, but Buffalo Trace is really more like red fruit, kind of cherry sweetness. Michter's is a little more caramel, but I think it's a high likelihood you would like Michter's. Yes. I have not collaborated with the Bourbon Junkies yet, but we are in a Discord together having some conversations, maybe at some point in the future. I don't think I have a big enough channel yet on YouTube to like all of ours are shorts. Most of our views are shorts. All of theirs are long forms. I may have to build up my clout a little bit to be able to collaborate with them. But I've got some ideas for stuff we may do sometime. It'll probably be early next year before I do it, but who knows? If I get it together, we might do some stuff together. But Booker's grew on me. It's something that I didn't like right away, but I love Booker's these days. Just got the full proof. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it. Open it up. Crack it open. Yeah, Wilson, that's a good one. Would I agree Henry McKenna is better than Bland? So Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond, I assume you're talking about. I don't know if I would say it's better than Bland's. I would have to try them in a blind, but I'm a guy that just loves that Buffalo Trace flavor profile. And so I would probably be able to pick out the difference between them. So I think I would be a little skewed even in a blind, unless I had no idea what was in the blind. $49 is a good price. Basil Hayden is fine for the most part. Yeah, it's just not super complex. So if I'm gonna drink what I find better than Basil Hayden to me is going to be the Baker's 107, like the Baker 7. So it's 107 proof Jim Beam product. Like that just has more intensity and flavor and higher proof. I've never put Chico in a bourbon. Couldn't tell you. Uncle Nearest, the stuff I've had, all sourced, early stuff from them was sourced. I know they're making their own stuff. I don't know if any of it's out yet. Well, so Jerry, we were going to do beer reviews like that. We have done like one beer review and it did pretty good. But the bourbon stuff is kind of where my passion lies. Like I'm much more interested in exploring a lot of bourbons than beers. But we, that was the intent when we started the channel. But we just kind of haven't, like the bourbon stuff's been working so well. We just kind of went all in on it. Haven't had Belfer. The Blood Oath on the bar is 8. Yeah. If I can get a 107, oh yeah, 107 is like that's my perfect like regular sipping whiskey for sure. Asking if that Elijah Craig. Oh, okay, I got you. This one. It's got a decent mouthfeel. It's not super oily for a 127 proof whiskey. I want to say this was the glass. Of course, y'all hit me with these high proofs after we've already been sipping on a bunch of stuff. I see what y'all are doing. Like, that's definitely a better whiskey to me than that guy. But I didn't find it super thin, but for a really high proof whiskey, it's not as thick as you would think it could be. 26 has an interesting flavor. Voyage 26, nice. My collection is empty bottles. That's exactly right. I collect empty bottles. Got the wheated Castle and Key. I saw it drop here locally, but I haven't found one. I haven't made the trip. Very light and sweet. Doesn't have incredible depth. That's what I'm hearing about all of the Castle and Key stuff. I haven't tried Old Elk Infinity. I had one in my hands one time. I stopped in a random liquor store on the, off the interstate. They had it sitting there. I didn't know what it was, and they had a hefty price on it. My internet wasn't even working in that place, so I ended up not buying it. Should I have bought it? Let me know. Are experimental bottles worth the money? Sometimes they're freaking exceptional. So like the Jefferson's wood experiment, the little small bottles I've got over here where they did a bunch of different wood experiments. Freaking exceptional. The Maker's Mark FAE 01 and 02, they're both really, really good. The FAE 01, I freaking love that bottle. So sometimes not so much. Like sometimes experiments don't work out. That's just the nature of the game. I haven't had pack 1 of Blood Oath. Eagle Rare is great for the price. For 30 bucks, sure. These batches. This was the A117, I think it was. Yeah, A117, and this was B520, I think. Don't think my suit will fit at the conference, then don't wear a suit, man. Any conference you got to go wearing a suit, that's not cool. Don't do that. I think they're going to be, like, was there no stag last year, George T. Stag? It was last year, or was it this year there's not going to be a stag? Y'all refresh my freaking memory. I think there was no George T. Stag last year. Wild Turkey 101's overrated? I wouldn't agree with that, but, to each his own, so I understand. Anyone try the 12-year 101 Wild Turkey? No, I'd love to have it, but I haven't seen one. Weller stuff hasn't shocked me so far. Interesting. Which ones have you had? Cigar City Brewing. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I like Cigar City Maduro. Like, that's one of my faves. Cigar City Maduro Brown Ale. Freaking delicious. Do some shorts with the beer on YouTube? I probably will. Like, we've done some, and we're experimenting with different things. But it's one of those things with content, like, you can attract the wrong audience, and that could kind of mess your channel up, kill your momentum, right? So if we're gaining an audience that loves bourbon, is watching a lot of our bourbon stuff, and we drop a beer video and nobody watches it, the next time YouTube might not recommend the bourbon video because they don't necessarily understand the difference, right? So we might have to create like a Brewzle beer channel and a Brewzle bourbon channel, and that's just too much work right now. Weller Foolproof is Van Winkle 10 Light. Yeah, that's fair enough. Pour a glass of Santi. Lord have mercy. I tried to say Santa Pappy, and it's just Santi. We're just gonna pour Santi. Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof, pretty good. I like it. The barrel proof store picks are actually really, really good. That's normally when I buy them when I see a store pick. Infinity 150. Wish you had left it sitting on the shelf. Interesting. What was 150 the price? King's Rye, haven't had that. Again, we were just talking about Booker's a second ago. It's a taste, a flavor profile that had to grow on me, but it's good stuff. Nice on that Yellowstone 101. What do you think about it? Where can I buy a bottle of Blanton's? I have a video coming out next week where we go through what it takes to get a bottle of Blanton's in the state of Alabama. No stag last year, which I would assume they're going to be some this year then. What's going on, ADHD Whiskey? In the house, man. Thanks for swinging by. No problem being late, you know, fashionably late. The party's just getting started. They started talking me into drinking these barrel strength, so this is where it gets interesting anyway. This is where I start turning into Matt from ADHD Whiskey. I need to put headbands on and, you know, all it gets slammered. Recently tried Woodford Reserve for the first time and fell in love. Nice. That's awesome. O&B is great for Tennessee bourbon. I haven't had that. 12-year Whistle Pig Rye. Oh, Jerry's trying to set me up for something. I don't smoke a ton of cigars. Unless I'm around other cigar smokers, I'll have one. But it's just not something I do a lot by myself. That Starlight's not my jam. I'm going to be honest with you. That's the Amburana finish. And I am not manly enough for that bottle. 150. Oh, yeah. I probably would have left that, too. Jefferson's Reserve's all right. The ones I've got are all finished. I don't like them at all. Keep it a bourbon channel. That's kind of where I'm leaning, Lance. You know, we'll split it off someday if we just feel like we have too much free time and we need to make more content. So, Trevor has the Special Reserve and Full Proof. They're delicious, but that flavor profile was just completely different than I expected. You wish there was more oak. Interesting. What I like about them is there's not too much oak. You might like the 12. Now, the 12 is going to be like the Special Reserve, low proof, but with more oak on it, right? What's your going trade for an FAE1? Like, as in you're looking for an FAE01, or you want me to trade you an FAE01, or you have an FAE01 you're trying to get to me? Let's see. It's that wheat. I like it, though. I like that wheat. Yeah, I mean, Blanton's are not that hard to find in Alabama. Really aren't. I bought one at the beach the other day in the video. I didn't even need one. I've got like 6 of them. I just bought another one. It was in the video. Favorite bourbon under $50 that you can regularly get is Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Wheated bourbons are usually some of my favorites. 1712 from North Carolina. Haven't had that. I like the Calumet 16. It keeps going up in price. I saw it the other day. It's like $170 now at most stores that I'm seeing it at. It's not $170, but it's freaking good. You know, back when it was like $130-ish, maybe $140-ish, you know, that might be a decent splurge. But your true opinion of Evan Williams? I mean, I don't like normal Evan Williams, but Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is exceptional. We just had this distillery only Evan Williams 12-year tonight for the first time. That's pretty good freaking whiskey. Yeah, y'all over here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to Matt at ADHD Whiskey. He does a cool, that's why y'all were asking for a Friday stream, and I'm like, I gotta watch his stream. So, I can't be streaming over the top of him. I'm gonna have to do a early stream and then, you know, let him stream afterwards or something. Anybody seen Wild Turkey Master's Key? I have not seen one in the wild this year. Have not seen one at all. I have some Bookers on the shelf, yes. I think it's a 2020-01 Granny's batch. Love Heaven Hill and that McKenna 10 and Larceny. Now, the Larceny Barrel Proof that I just tested and did a review of is actually really, really good. Now, Larceny Barrel Proof is a wheater. So that actually, we did something interesting. We stole an idea from Doug DeMuro and Matt, who's now in the chat. And we did kind of a breakdown of several different aspects and gave it kind of a score at the end. I'm not going to tell what it scored, but it's hard to tell whether that's a good score or a bad score because that's the first one we've done like that. But I really enjoyed the bottle. EJC 18-year? Are you talking about Elijah Craig 18? If that's what you're asking about, I don't know what EJC, but Elijah Craig 18, I like it. It's proof down. It's too oaky at 18 years like any bourbon would probably be. But proof down like that, it's actually a really nice pour. I enjoy it. Never see me do anything on 1792. I'll start doing some. I've got some. It's pretty good. I haven't found a 1792 that just makes me say that's exceptional to me. Haven't tried Ewing Young, no. Rubicon Creek from Dayton Barrel. Dayton Barrel works. One at first Saturday tasting I had with friends. Nice, I haven't tried that. Well, you know, so Jerry, we get a ton of requests for what's the best cheap whiskey? What's the best beginner whiskey? Stuff like that. For folks like that, I don't want to recommend anything expensive, right? Even beginners. So I'm just trying to give them something that I think's a pretty good whiskey that's not going to just completely turn them off, right? Like that's a pretty good whiskey for 25 bucks. So it does get a little repetitive, and I apologize if I keep recommending the same whiskey. But we'll stream on TikTok, especially like the YouTube base. We get some newbies in there, but on TikTok, like the majority of the folks in this chat are new to whiskey or just kind of getting started, or at least a lot of them ask that same series of questions. And so, there's no way for me to just like roll it and just have it post in the chat and tag their name. So I apologize if it gets a little repetitive, but I'm literally answering the same question. I answer that question, what's the best new, what's the best cheap? Probably 20 or 30 times a night on TikTok. But we want to be that ambassador, right? Like we want to bring more folks into this hobby. I know it's y'all that are having trouble finding good whiskey now are like, don't bring anybody new in. But, honestly, if you want this hobby to grow, if you want distilleries to continue to grow, to put out more stuff, to do more experiments, for it to be a bigger, more fun thing, then, being kind to new folks in the hobby is an important thing to do. Because if if everybody's just kind of mean and bitter to folks that are new, then sooner or later the new folks will move on to something else and this hobby will stop growing. Like what just kind of sucks for us that are in it now and are kind of into it or have been into it for a while, is that stuff's just hard to find. But that's just a a byproduct of what it takes to make good whiskey. Like you can't just make, no, I get you. But it's like, you just can't make more whiskey overnight. Like if you were selling Glencairns and everybody wanted a Glencairn, well, you just start making more Glencairns. Well, you make more whiskey. First of all, your still will only make so much, and you can't just go buy another still. You got to build a replica of your still so it tastes the same. And then you've got to age it for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or whatever. So, it's just the way it is. But all good. I get your question, man. Sorry if I went on a little bit of a soapbox there. The best pour I've had in the past week. What were we drinking? We were drinking Blanton's on the last stream. Let's just go with tonight, because really Monday and tonight's the only time I've drank a whole lot since last Wednesday. Probably that Fable and Folly right there, as far as the ones we've had tonight, would probably be my favorite. Why is, Adam, why is ADHD Whiskey a better channel? See, Adam's a pretty good, that's a pretty good troll, Adam. And you gave me money with it, which is even better. Why is ADHD Whiskey a better channel? He's funny. I like to think I'm a little bit funny, but it's a different type of funny, right? So if you like his sense of humor, I enjoy that. He has more people in his live stream, so that can keep the chat more engaging. I mean, technically not if you count my TikTokers, right? Which you should count, because these guys are awesome over here. But, dude's just hilarious. And he's, he puts out a better long form video than we do right now. Like his reviews are just better produced than what we're doing right now, but we're going to catch up and surpass that. So he's going to have to get in that he's in the Discord now. He's just going to have to start pushing the envelope, because we're going to continue pushing it. So ADHD Whiskey is a superior long form and live stream YouTube channel for now. But Matt, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Matt. Be on the lookout. Matt says I'm much funnier. He's just dumb. I don't know. That kind of, the funny thing is being Southern. I don't know if it's just Southern or, my dad, that kind of like self-aware kind of, act the fool kind of humor just is right up my alley, though. I love it. Best scotch. Don't drink a lot of scotch. What's the best price for a shot of allocated? I mean, normally what you do is look at what it goes for. Like here, there's a little bourbon bar that, you know, every week they'll have a half price pour. And so oftentimes it is Blanton. So I go in there and get a pour of Blanton's for like $8. But normally it's going to be $16. I have a hard time going places like that and paying $16 for a bottle I can just get for $60. Like I just did. Fable and Folly is solid stuff there. Just got into the hobby because of all of a sudden I couldn't get the Eagle Rare. I understand that. It got hard. It's kind of back everywhere around here. Like not all the time, but moderately regularly. But I have not tried. Well, we tried the gin on the live stream on Monday that my wife got. That was not good. I don't think I have a Bonded Lillard. I got the WB Saffel. I thought I'd got a Bonded Lillard, but I can't find it, so I may have passed on that. Still that little bottle, right? That $3.75. If you had to get convenience store whiskey, Walgreens, well, the Walgreens around here doesn't sell whiskey, so I couldn't even tell you. Like I've never been in a Walgreens that sold whiskey. Grocery stores don't sell whiskey around here. We're in a state-controlled state, so you go to gas station liquor stores or you go to the state-run stores. That's it. We don't have big chains of liquor stores or anything. Nobody does a Saturday night stream. I just enjoy my Saturday. I enjoy my college football. I enjoy just kind of chillaxing on Saturday. I do a lot of work on the cars. I would like to do a Saturday stream. We debated it for a while, but I just, like, just mental health, sanity, I just don't think I could do a regular. Like, I don't think I could commit to it. Appreciate it, TBH. Ever heard OD? I don't know what you mean. Don't know anything about Macallan? Barrel Spirit. Oh, my favorite barrel, like you're talking about, like from Barrel Bourbon Company, where we're going to try to do our store pick. This bottle right here is my favorite thing I've ever freaking had from them. This is a Total Wine store pick called Grandma's Peach Pie. Cream of Kentucky. I don't think it's bonded, the one I have. Is it? It's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, but it's not bonded. I have Cream of Kentucky 13, but not the bonded. Haven't had Oak and Eden. I'm a little behind. I apologize. Lots of comments. Favorite pour neat out of a Glencairn. All of them are, like, all of my pours are neat out of a Glencairn. Lost Monarch. Haven't had that one. What? Where did I have the... Yeah, I have the Lost Monarch. You're right. That's good stuff. And I apologize if I miss your comment. They're moving pretty fast. If there's Dickel in that Fable and Folly, they do a good job of blending it out where I can't taste it. So I'll take it. Like, I admit sometimes, like, I enjoy that Widow Jane 10-year. It's got George Dickel in it. Some batches have too much for me, and I don't love it because of that, but some of them, it's there. I could taste it, but it's not overwhelming. But honestly, if you handed me that, and you said that Fable and Folly had George Dickel in it, I wouldn't believe it. So, they've either done a good job or they found bottles that didn't have that minerally taste. Because I'm extremely sensitive to it. Haven't tried Brothers Bond. Auburn still plays football. Oh, God. See, we got a pretty good troll over here. They do, unfortunately, field a team. We can debate whether or not they're actually playing football with that team, though. I've had the Barrel Seagrass and Dovetail. I thought those were fine. I didn't just love them, though, but I thought they were pretty good. Haven't had Remus 5. I have the 4. I like it. The Jack Bonded is really good. I prefer the Triple Mash, though. Just bought top 3 bottles. Barrel top 3 top? I don't know anything about that. Round Eye, don't know. My favorite 100 proof bourbon. My favorite 100 proof bourbon. So that's going to be mostly bottle and bonds, although not all bottle and bonds. You know, not everything that's 100 proof is bottle and bond. Let me look at what I've got back here. Because most of my favorites are like that 107. E.H. Taylor? E.H. Taylor single barrel, 100 proof, bottle and bond. That's a content. Ooh, Rock Hill Farms. Rock Hill Farms is 100 proof. That's right up my alley. There's nothing going to beat one of those two. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's nothing here that's going to beat those two. So it's going to be one of those two. It's been a while since I've had them back to back. They're very similar. I'd probably go Rock Hill Farms. For free life advice, dude, the ending on those are really funny. Used to buy 6 packs of Eagle Rare at 10% discount. Yep, the good old days. Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. It's not a competition. You know, it's not, man. I'm just picking. I'm just having a good time. somebody asked the question. I would never bring it up. Rising tides. That's what we're trying to do in that Discord, man. Just, see if we can help everybody. And learn, and honestly learn from everybody. A lot of folks in there have had some good ideas. So you can buy liquor at Walmart here in Missouri. But like, I'm not trying to compete with anybody. We're just trying to be the best we could possibly be. So I'm just competing. I'm literally competing with my last video in every single one of them. So we get a little competitive. And sometimes it's fun to try to, create a little camaraderie and competition. But realistically, I hope we all do extremely well. Yeah, I'm an Auburn fan. So that's, we're not real good right now. User, you need my opinion. What did I miss? Is Whistle Pig 18-year double malt rye? I would not enjoy that. Anything double malt's not going to be up my alley. Definitely not a malted rye. Now, somebody who's into ryes or into malted whiskeys might really enjoy that. So I would not enjoy that. So you need to know the person you're giving it to if you're going to give them a bottle like that. If you want to start in bourbon and you've never drank bourbon before, you're going to try a bunch of different low-proof stuff. Get you a Buffalo Trace, get you an Eagle Rare, maybe jump into an Evan Williams Bottle and Bond to try 100 proof whiskey, an Old Forester 86 proof. Maybe even just like a Four Roses. Get into those, let me know. Ice cream and whiskey, no. I've tried some bourbon cream and ice cream, but I haven't had Angel's Envy rye. Don't know. Jefferson's Ocean depends greatly on the batches. Some good, some not so good. Basil Hayden's an easy sipper, but I'm looking for more complexity out of my whiskey. This is a Total Wine and More store pick of barrel. My favorite Kentucky bourbon is William LaRue Weller. Same as my favorite bourbon, my favorite whiskey, my favorite weeder. Like, it just checks all the boxes on my favorites. Widow Jane 10's good. I like the 13 better, though. It just has less George Dickel flavor to me. Go Braves! Yeah, I'm not a big Braves fan. I'm just not a big baseball fan, so we just didn't even have a baseball team in high school, so I don't know anything about it. Yeah, that barrel-aged gin, oh, that was bad. That's not my thing at all. Of course, I'm not a big gin fan, but barrel-aged gin didn't help it. It just made it worse. Buffalo Trace, $20. Nice. Yeah, EHT's good, but that Rock Hill Farms hits. It hits now. The mixer review is funny. I appreciate that. That thing's a lot of fun. I think I put it back there on the shelf. So I was literally down here filming some reviews. I was just filming some reviews, and Jill came down the stairs and she said she was cleaning up. And so there was a bunch of like kitchen stuff. A lot of stuff just never even been opened from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s in the kitchen. And so she just brought this thing down and she's like, it says it makes mixed drinks. Is this something you're interested in? While I was filming, and I was like, that looks like a freaking interesting video. Just give that to me. Let's, so like literally the next video I filmed was just that thing. And I was well into a fairly long day of filming. So I was already feeling pretty good when that one came in. So I just had fun with it. My editor gave me a hard time because I couldn't get it to work. Like the batteries would not go in, and when they finally went in, like it was hard to tell how the batteries went in, and then something was wrong with the connector on the contact on it, so it wouldn't start even when the batteries were right. So that 1 minute short, there's literally 18 minutes of footage for that video. Most of it's just me trying to get the dang thing to start. So when I was so excited that it actually started, I was really excited that it actually worked because I didn't think I thought I just wasted my time. User, not every night. No, usually just on live stream. So like tonight I didn't drink last night. I drank on Monday because we live streamed. And now that I'm done today, I probably won't drink again until Monday. So, but I appreciate your concern. Thank you. Thank you for that. Mixer's 10-year. I haven't had the 10-year rye. Had a bottle. Friend really wanted it. Love ryes. I gave it to him. I regret it. I do. I mean, I don't regret helping a guy out that really wanted that bottle, but I do regret not drinking it. What's a higher proof compared to the Smoke Wagon? I don't know what's the proof on that Smoke Wagon. That's small batch. Does that say 100 proof? I think it says 100 proof. I like the 1920, Patrick. I like the higher proof on it. Early times Bottle and Bond are really good, but the new ones are not as good as the older ones. The Old Fit decanters. That's a good call, AW. The Old Fit's decanters at 100 proof. I probably, I haven't owned one. But I think it's the 13. The Old Fit's 13. We were drinking in a bar one night, and we drank a lot of really expensive whiskey in that bar. And that Old Fit's 13 was the best thing me and a friend had that night. And so I need a bottle of Old Fit's 13. Like I would make a hefty exchange for a bottle of Old Fit's 13 because I want to try it against all of these whiskeys. That one would probably do really, really well. The 8, the 9, I've got an 8. I think I got an 8 open. I think I got a 9 unopened. I've got a 17 that I haven't tried those yet. Almost positive there's a blend of MGP and Diggle. Maybe. They just do a good job. So, I mean, it's all, I'm good with it. They just do a good job of hiding it. So, I'm not a hater. If you do a good job, you do a good job. A screwdriver needs you. You're licking tires. Now I'll know. Better put some run flats on it, huh? Better than a Bama fan. Oh, that Tennessee game's going to be good this weekend, isn't it? Tennessee's looking good. As an Auburn fan, you won't have anything until Monday. See, here's the thing. I'm working on the Lincoln in a house right now, and so when Auburn loses, when Auburn plays terribly, I get a lot done. So it's really been helpful for me this football season because now instead of like having a bunch of people over and sitting down and watching the games, I just go do work. Like this past weekend, I was out there working on the Lincoln and the Corrado and had a friend over and we were out there working on cars and I was just listening to it on the radio. And then once the game's over, I just shut it off and I don't want to watch all the other games, right? I don't want to watch anything else. Auburn's playing good. I want to watch every game. It's one of those weird things. I will watch anybody. Like some small little teams I've never heard of will come on. I'll be like, it's the only thing on. I'm going to watch this because it's football and I'm excited about football. And when my team sucks, I don't want to watch any of it. Like I'll probably watch like an Alabama, Tennessee, just because that's such a big game. And I've got a lot of family that are fans of each of those teams. So I probably watch that. But usually if Auburn sucks, football season just ruined for me. Like I just lose all the fun because I just don't want to think about it. I just move on to something else. It's a depressant at that point. I'm not too buzzed up. I slowed down on it, so I'm good now. I've got a Fireball review coming here pretty soon. Actually, I may film that Friday. I haven't opened the Old Fit 17 yet. Haven't opened it. Ardbeg. I haven't had I think I had an Ardbeg. I gave it away because I'm not a Scotch guy. My favorite non-weeder. Again, like that E.H. Taylor. Yeah, I mean, you talk about that. You can go up here and maybe that Eagle Rare 17 or that George T. Stagg. That Blanton straight from the barrel is freaking exceptional. But those are all Buffalo Trace. Like I hate just pointing at Buffalo Traces. I really do. But like they're just so freaking good. I've been enjoying that Woodford Very Fine Rare bourbon a lot lately. I've been drinking that thing pretty heavy. I need another bottle of that. I had two. A buddy really wanted it. I gave it to him. I gotta quit doing that. Like I really gotta stop that shit. Because then sometimes it works out and it's just a bottle I don't care for. And then sometimes it's a bottle I really want another one of and I can't get it. So Elijah Craig Toasted plus Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 50/50. You think that's pretty good? Do you let it sit for a while or what? Well, I mean, Will, I don't get paid a lot to sit here. We just got monetized on YouTube, so that helps. We've gotten a few super chats. We just literally 10 minutes before this stream got monetized. We got a bonus from YouTube for our short views, but it's not a lot. But they'll be monetizing at the end of the year. TikTok doesn't pay a whole lot. We could get sponsors. We will get to where we're being monetized and we're making money. Like that will happen someday. But right now, I don't really get paid to do this. This is a loss. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. We're trying to build it towards something that, it at least generates enough revenue for me to spend the time because this takes a ton of time. Like, my wife's like, you're just going to stream, because we just said we're going to stream on Friday. I'd love to stream every freaking night, but she's like, I mean, come on, you got to spend some time with the family sometime or another. So we're already spending, 8 hours a week just streaming. Like that's 8 hours a week just streaming. And then Friday, I'm going to spend, I'm lucky enough to own a small business. So I can spend during the day Friday actually filming videos, but I'm going to spend, 4 hours filming videos on Friday, getting them ready, setting up, filming, that's not including the time to go, find the stuff, come up with ideas, work with my team to flesh those out, to make those to where the platforms will promote them. And then I've got two people, one person working full time on this pretty much, right? So I got my son that does a lot of the posting and handles, the Discord and maintenance on that, and, helps me come up with ideas and all of that stuff. So, and then I've got an editor that does all the editing, because I have to then, I have to have somebody to edit because I have a full-time job I've got to go do as well. And that requires, 50 plus hours of my time each month or each week. So, it's just, it's a lot. It's not, I'm not lucky enough for it to be a for-profit situation at this juncture. Do I think Bama can beat Ohio State? Yes. Yes, absolutely. I do believe they can beat Ohio State. Not without their starting quarterback. Will they beat Ohio State? It's another good question. I'm not saying they will, but for sure they can. The William LaRue Weller, the only one I've ever tried is the 2020. Woodford Barrel Select? I don't think I've had a Woodford Barrel Select. Beans 8-star? Haven't had that. Any seats at the bar available? Yeah, there's plenty of seats here, and I appreciate the compliments on the bar. On YouTube, they can't see the whole bar. Y'all can see more, y'all can see the lights here. It's a mess on YouTube, but I apparently clicked something with my mouse. We were clicking on stuff. I'll zoom out so they can see. They can see a lot. You can see a lot more of the bar now on YouTube, right? They're zoomed back. They can see the bar front and the lights and the door that's open over there and chairs and all of the bottles that we've pulled out. The bar was clean before we started this live stream. I assure you, it was freaking clean. If I possibly have an FAE01 that could use a home, I don't know, Brandon. See, I have an FAE01 open and then I have a backup. So, if you really want to get rid of it, get in the Discord. We can have some conversations. We'll figure it out. Let's not openly talk about things like that. Old Fitz 8, 11, and 17. The 13 was the perfect one to me. 17 is glorious. 11 is very good. 8 is all right. I would agree with the 8. I would agree with the 8. Something odd about it. $10 bottle of Old Fitz. So when you say a $10 bottle of Old Fitz, you're talking about this guy, right? Just got this guy. I haven't tried it yet. Just subscribed on YouTube. Henning, thank you. I appreciate it. No wax. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. Nowak. Nowakgs. But thank you for subscribing on YouTube. I appreciate it. I don't usually smoke whiskey, just regular whiskey. No. Angel's Envy Rye. I'm looking for it. Again, there's only so many bottles I could buy, and I've bought all the bottles times 2 the last month because we're trying to push out a lot of content. But budget kind of limited on that kind of stuff. But I'll get there. We will get. It's on the list for sure. Weller Full and Antique is a good mix. I'll bet they are. That actually probably would be great. Patron Bar Night. Patreon? They're giving me a hard time about how I pronounce it. Bar trip. We might. We're talking about doing some stuff. Maybe a meetup or a get together or something. There's been some discussions around trying to do that. But is somebody going to travel all the way to Opelika to hang out with me? I don't know. And then how many people is that going to be? And do we have to have a venue or whatever? Are there, I know a lot of the folks in there, but are there any weirdos? So then I bring them back to the house, and then are they gonna be stalking me or doxing me on the internet? I don't know. We got to figure all that stuff out. But I'm down. We built this house to entertain and have folks over, so it'd be fun to do something here. Bama this year, no match for Ohio State. Bama just about every year is a match for anybody. Now, Ohio State does appear to be really good, but there are a lot of teams that have appeared to be really good that have lost to Alabama when it's just one game, winner take all. I didn't say they would beat Ohio State. I just said they could beat Ohio State. Adam Rhodes with the super chats. Do you think you can 1v1 the Whiskey Tribe back to back? I don't understand your question, Adam. Clarify your question. 1v1 the Whiskey Tribe. What do you mean by back to BAC to BAC? What's your upper limit for Antique 107? I buy it at $100. That's kind of my price for it. You can get it for 105, 110. If I just didn't have one, I'd pay 110 for it. But I'm not going to go any higher than that. There are Facebook groups. I shall not promote them, but there are Facebook groups where people buy, sell, trade stuff. Never see the 107, but I like at $100. I think 107 is still a good buy. It's still a buy for me at 100, easy. Can you see the Pappy's bottles? I'll grab the Pappy's bottles. Bring me the Pappy's, isn't that right, Matt? All right, so this is the 15. Technically, this is the only one I have that is actually Pappy's. The rest of these are Van Winkles. So if you want to get technical, like if you just start talking to some bourbon snob or some asshole, and you say, I had a Pappy's, it needs to have a picture of Pappy Van Winkle on the front of it, like that bottle right there, right? That is Pappy's. It says Pappy, right? It says Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve right there. This is the 10-year, which is, we call Rip 10, old Rip Van Winkle 10-year. It's Pappy's, it's, Van Winkle, it's the 10-year, but it's not technically Pappy's because it doesn't say Pappy on it, right? This is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey Van Winkle Special Reserve. And it says down here Lot B. So most folks just call that Lot B. That's the 12-year-old version of Pappy's, but technically not Pappy's to somebody that's kind of being a snob, right? Feel like you'll get more YouTube money next month? Nice. Well, yeah, Skylar, I mean, we weren't monetized until like literally 2 hours and 10 minutes ago at this point. So hopefully we'll make a little bit. It'd be nice. Got a lot of plans. So TX HEB Fireball? I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Melted vanilla caramel that got aged in a bourbon barrel? That actually sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, we're good, Seth. We're good. What's the difference between cask strength and barrel strength? No difference. Just however you want to market it. That they mean the same thing. The one in the back is a Yellowstone 2020 limited release. I think it's finished in like Armagnac or something. It's finished in some sort of cognac cask or something, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it means the same thing. Cask strength and barrel strength mean the same thing. Slide these out of the way before I accidentally knock one of them off the bar. Like, we'll put those guys way over here because I have broken things. Bama loses to Tennessee in Knoxville this weekend. There's a strong chance. Tennessee's a solid team. That close to God's country. It's a game weekend. All right. We'll set it. I've got like 2 TVs set up down here. We can watch all the games at the same time. Got a little Roll Tide in the chat. I don't know about that. Peach Street, I have not tried it. Yeah, tons of blends, lots of blends, all the blends. The live stream we did Monday was us trying 3 different bottles of blends. My favorite of the Pappy's is the 15, although I think the Lot B 12-year-old has a chance to be better if it was 107 proof, but they proof it down to 90. So I would love to try the 12-year-old Lot B at 107 proof. Just got your first bottle of the Lot B 12. Nice. Awesome. I have not tried the Sinatra Century. No. I do. Yeah, I have 1 bottle of Eagle Rare 17. Pretty good stuff. Steve, why would you not get another pour, man? Like, what time is it? It's 10:57. It is kind of getting late. Hey, I hope the Vols pull it off this weekend. 3 main people on the tribe: the short bald guy, the tall hair, and the girl. If you had to fight them, okay, so we're gonna fight them one after another. Whew, I don't know. Like, I think I could take any one of them in the first one. So if you gave me maybe the female first, I could take her out, and then any one of the other 2. But I'm an old fat guy. And so there's a big question on stamina at that point, right? So I think I stand a good chance on either one of them because I'm mean and I'm too old to fight fair, right? This is not going to be a fair fight. Like, we're going to be pulling hair and clawing eyes. Like, we're not, I can't play a young man's game here. So I think I would stand a chance against 2 in any order. But the third one, I'm liable to just run out of gas and just lay there and let them beat me to death. I don't know. Different whiskey to buy my boyfriend as a birthday present. He's an Old Elk Buffalo Trace fan. Interesting. How big is his collection? Let me know. What is his favorite whiskey? Like, not like I get Buffalo Trace. Are you saying Buffalo Trace the distillery or the actual whiskey? And how many are in his collection? In my opinion, or picked up that Cream of Kentucky bottled in bond. I haven't tried that, so interesting. Elijah Craig Four Roses. It depends on the bottle. Probably the Four Roses if it's like a barrel strength. I'm gonna go with the Four Roses myself. Weller 12 full proof. I'll take full proof every day, all day. Not even a question. Not even a question. Yes, Golden Boy, we're actually talking about doing some experiments like that on camera here pretty soon. Discord after the stream, I might be in there for just a little bit. Yeah, might be in there just a little bit. You think you'd take me out? I mean, I don't know. Like I got old man strength and I got fat man strength going for me. And so, like, I've never lost a fight. And I've been in a few. Now, I was younger. I was a lot younger, and I was an athlete back then. So, who knows? I might just fall and break my hip. Like, you may. Not that. Sorrow, I'm not that tipsy. Like, I've done a pretty good job of metering it. Like, I've been talking a lot more than I've been drinking. So, left in the blood oath. Like, all we had was like one pour out of that. So, it's all good. Foolproof better than the 12. Antique 107 better than the 12. Absolutely, in that order. Yes. I would take the 107 over the Foolproof, but honestly, I feel like I'm probably a little weird. They're pretty close to me as far as, like, you know, how good they are. Anybody who thinks that Tennessee is actually beating Alabama is, I don't, like, if Alabama's starting quarterback, you saw that A&M game, right? If Alabama, you know, if Bryce Young's not playing, and even if he is, like, Tennessee's pretty good. I don't know if Alabama's quite what they were supposed to be. They'll probably be by the end of the year, but right now, who knows? Boiler up. Armagnac, same as cognac, but with grapes from a different region. Yeah. Go Irish. Ooh. I haven't been keeping up with Notre Dame, but after like the first 2 or 3 games, you're having a season kind of like Auburn. Brianna's a scrapper. Hey, you may be right. Like, this is up for debate. New to bourbon, I really like Russell's 10 year. That's interesting to be new to bourbon to like Russell's 10 year, because that's a really oaky. I would probably recommend you just stick with the Russells for a little bit. Try Wild Turkey 101 if you haven't tried one. Try Wild Turkey Rare Breed if you haven't had one of those, or a Russell's Reserve single barrel, right? Like, go deep into that Russell's if you found that Russell's and you really like it. Cognac is twice distilled in pot stills. Armagnac is single distilled columns. Interesting. Ben, appreciate you hanging out. Go Dogs and go Braves. There you go. A good whiskey for beginners, not finished. Buffalo Trace. Like, that's one of the reasons it's the most popular distilleries on the planet, is because a lot of people just like it, right? Just try a Buffalo Trace. Try an Eagle Rare. Both made by Buffalo Trace. Sinful 69, haven't tried it. My collection is empty. I drink over display. I understand. Bourbon Off-Road, what's going on? You believe me. What I say about Four Roses? Somebody was asking about whether I like Four Roses or Elijah Craig, and I single barrel strength stuff over these Elijah Craig barrel strengths all day for me. This is a Blood Oath packed 8. Yes, Notre Dame blows. You know, they always seem to be ranked higher than they deserve. That's for sure, and sometimes they're pretty good. You going to bed? All right, I'm probably gonna have to call it here in a second. I'll keep y'all awake. All right. New to the channel with DT. Thanks for joining and hanging out. Go Padres. Rare Breed is really high proof, so that's going to be different, right? So it depends on what you're into. I like both of those a lot, but those are very different experiences. That 114 proof versus that 90 proof Buffalo Trace product, just different expenses. Arm and Yak. So not Armagnac. There's a D. Armagnac. There's not a D in there. There's not a D. Like, GN is nya. That's the sound. Armagnac. That's what it says. Like, I can't help it. Somebody wrote the word and then came up with a dumb pronunciation for it. Like, I can't help that. That's not my fault. Now, I shouldn't have to follow those rules when, like, the English language says GN makes that nyak sound. And then they're like, no, we're going to put a D in there. We're going to call it arm and yak. An arm and a yak. That's not right. Come on. It's not my fault. I'm not wrong on that. I'm not wrong. The entire world is wrong on that, not me. Wild Turkey American Honey. Hey, that's a good whiskey. Nothing wrong with that. I used to drink a bunch of that as a youngster. Eagle Rare's his favorite and hardest to get. He has a 10 to 12 bottle collection. Okay. So he's got some bottles, but not a ton. Eagle Rare is his favorite, but it's hard to get, and we're looking for a gift for him. Okay, so he sounds like he's liking the sweeter stuff, the Buffalo Trace, the Old Elk. Old Elk can be up and down, though, depending on which bottle you get. If he's a fan of Buffalo Trace, and the problem is anything's gonna be hard to get. Like, I would love for you to be able to get him a bottle of Weller, but like, where are you gonna find that, right? So, Eagle Rare is low proof, so I don't want you to get something that's super high proof because he may not enjoy that. Obviously, a bottle of Blanton's might be pretty good, but I'm sure if he's a Buffalo Trace fan, he knows it, or he's going out and looking for it. I'm trying to find something that you might actually be able to go out and get that is maybe a little higher level, but you know, we think he would enjoy that. So I'm kind of just going through my list here of stuff that he would probably enjoy. So Buffalo Trace sweetness, but Buffalo Trace stuff is super hard to come by. So this benchmark stuff, if you're, you know, and I don't know your budget, but for like 20-ish bucks, if he's never had a benchmark, that's made by Buffalo Trace. That's a really good whiskey. We're talking about something that's going to be kind of low proof. Like, I would say a Larceny barrel proof if you can find it, but again, not something you can just go out and get any day of the week. A Henry McKenna 10-year, but not super easy to find. So I would say do that. If that doesn't work out, honestly, like a Clyde Mays has kind of a similar sweetness to a Buffalo Trace product to me. Now, they've got a bourbon. This is the Alabama style. I've got the bourbon back there. Both of those are kind of sweeter whiskeys as well. Anybody got any suggestions for somebody that just loves Eagle Rare and they're into those 80 proofers, that she might actually be able to go out and find, right? Like, I don't want something that she's just not going to be able to find and it's not helpful at all. So this is a $20-ish whiskey that you can get all the time. So if he's never tried this, he's almost guaranteed to like this if he likes Buffalo Trace, right? And this is available in a lot of places all the time. So this ADHD Whiskey said, just compared a few sips of the 2 new midwinter nights, immediately got a massive headache. Interesting. So does wine give you a headache, or? That's kind of interesting. If you likes Eagle Rare, Four Roses single barrel. Miller's thinking over there. Miller's thinking. So I don't have, it's in a bottle. I'll get one similar. Now, what I have is a barrel strength. So I don't recommend you get a barrel strength unless you know he likes high proof stuff. But that's a good suggestion. So it's going to be in a little bottle like this, right? And they've got a bunch of different mash bills. Don't worry about it. You can't go wrong with these. So it's in a little squatty bottle like this, right? That kind of square bottle. This one says barrel strength. Don't go with the barrel strength unless you know he likes high proof stuff. But just normal old Four Roses single barrel like this would actually be a really good gift. That's a good call, Miller. I like that one. All right, take it easy. I appreciate you hanging out. I haven't had the I.W. Harper. I love Old Forester. A lot of their stuff. Donate them a Detling. And we won't bring up the Detlings. Detling probably hates me. Detling they may be the ones I got to worry about letting them know where I live. High West, some of the High West stuff is good. Peter, appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out and coming by. Widow Jane 10, good stuff. You know, the batches vary. Some of them are great, some of them are okay, but you know, the one I've got's really good right now. You should try visiting Old Raleigh Distillery during a batch. Oh, absolutely. Like we're gonna go to a lot of that kind of stuff next year. I've got a couple of trips I'm working on right now for this year, and then next year we're gonna do a lot of road tripping. All right, Jill. We're leaving at 8 in the morning. I got a 2-hour drive at 8 o'clock in the morning, so we're probably gonna go ahead and call this. It is 11:09. I appreciate everybody hanging out. We might have actually got over 100 people at one time on YouTube. Everybody pump the likes for me. If you're not subscribed, if you're not following, please do that. Appreciate everybody hanging out and joining. We will be live again on Monday, 8 o'clock Central Time. Join the Discord if you're on TikTok. That is in the bio. If you're over on YouTube, Cheech has been dropping that all freaking night. If you're into Patreon stuff, I know I keep calling it Patreon, but patron stuff, we've got that going too, and we're trying to build barrel picks and really build the rewards. Not a lot going on over there right now. So I understand if that's not your thing too. So no sweat. Awesome for everybody hanging out and coming. Oh, the old tub. Lord have mercy. All right. Even though now I've just run everybody off, I've always got Adams. Like, I've been hanging out for the freaking old tub. All right. So for those that don't know, this is Old Tub. Now, it's not your normal old tub. This is not your granddad's old tub. So we're going to try this before we call it. I took a bottle of Old Tub and I distilled the whiskey out and condensed it down to 160 proof, pure, clear whiskey. And then we put an oak spire in it. I don't know if y'all can see that. I've been wide on YouTube since I showed y'all the bar, right? We're gonna move in here. I don't know if y'all could see that spire. Maybe if I got out from behind it, you'd be able to. But there's like an oak spire in there. So I'm going to give this guy a try. It has been in there. It's super high proof. And it has been in there for at least a month now. And it was too oaky. It was not good. So we're just gonna have a little sample of this before we call it. What's good? The Patreon name? My patron's it's Brewzle. It's under Brewzle. Douglas is back. Well, we're about to call it. We're gonna give this 160 proof Old Tub over an oak spire for a month. A little taste test. It's getting better, honestly. The oakiness is still bad. It still tastes like a young whiskey, right? It's got almost like a grass note to it, just kind of this youthfulness. Now, it's not a young whiskey because this was an old whiskey that we distilled out, but it just has kind of it's not a yeasty youthfulness like you would get on a normal white dog, but it's just kind of a sharp grass note and then just a really unpleasant bitter oak that you get from rapid aging. You get no complexities, no subtleties, no sweetness from the oak. You just get kind of this unpleasant grassy oakiness. And Lord, does that have a lot of proof on it. Lord, I do not recommend y'all drinking 160 proof whiskey. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. We're going to finish this one. Oh, all right. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the time this evening. We will see all of y'all again on Monday at 8 o'clock. So we're going to cut off YouTube here first. So we got